Thank you, sir.
There we go. Meeting's come to order. Everybody rise for the pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing.
Dear Lord,
Whipper.
thank you for another day to gather as a body to serve Bourbon County. We ask again for your wisdom as we work to make thoughtful and sound decisions for our county. Please continue to guide myself and my coworkers so we may carry out the duties of this office with your wisdom and grace. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Everybody can be seated. All right, before we get going with the order of business, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for attending the June 23rd, 2025 meeting of the Board of County Commissioners of Bourbon County. We will begin the order of business in a few moments. We ask that you silence your phones, take any private conversations to the lobby. Those that have signed in for public comments, you will be called to the table by the chair. If the chair opens the floor for comments relating to other agenda items, those wishing to speak will raise their hands and wait to be recognized. Criticism and praise are welcome equally. We do ask that speakers are respectful and follow decorum outlined for public comments posted in the lobby. Thank you, and again, welcome to tonight's meeting. We'll start off with approval of the agenda as written. Is there any corrections?
So I'd like to add right here, right now, a presentation for the parliamentarian that we have sitting here, Katie. And then I would also like to move Steve Prasco and Jason Rickner up to just under 7, or just under 6 would be fine, because they've driven into town, and I'd like to get the presentations in and out, if that would be fine with you guys.
That'd be fine by me.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, then I move we approve the agenda as revised.
Second.
Beardar,
Yes.
Tran,
Yes.
Milburn.
Yes.
Okay.
So,
Have the current agenda.
do you want me to go ahead and go over the?
The
this?
parliamentarian.
Yes, yes. Okay, so on this, I just took the moment to write a SOP for our new parliamentarian position. And if you guys have any questions on that, I gave you both one. If you have revisions or changes, or if you like it as stands, I've already went over some things with Katie. So she's going to assist the chair in meetings conducted in orderly and respectful, efficient manner, monitor and support adherence to the resolution 925, 1025, and 1125 that you signed, David, in January. Provide clear and impartial guidance in the interpretation of these resolutions, and a procedural resource to you, David, is what she'll be. So she'll remain impartial at all times, abstain from participating in debate or expressing opinions on the matter, hold no voting authority. She'll sit next to the chair to provide immediate procedural advice and support. The commissioners will place items on the agenda. The commissioner who submitted the agenda item will be recognized to explain the item. Items can be discussed or may lead to a motion. If in a motion, the motion's made, the parliamentarian will confirm and call for a second. The commissioner making a motion speaks first during the commission discussion. Each commissioner will have an opportunity to speak once before anyone may speak again. Then you can bring in your cards for public comment. Public comment will be heard from individuals who have signed up to speak. Public comment will follow decorum rules in Resolution 1125. After public comment, each commissioner will have the final opportunity to discuss the motion. The clerk will call for a vote. So commissioner participation on discussion items. Commissioner who brought the discussion speaks first. During each commissioner discussion, each commissioner will have an opportunity to speak once before any commissioner speaks a second time. After commissioners speak, the public who signed up may provide comment in accordance with Resolution 1125. Final round of commissioner comments. Commissioners may have a second opportunity to speak following the same speaking order rule. No commissioner may speak twice before all have spoken once. So enforcement and final authority is to the chair. The chair has final authority on all matters in enforcement. Parliamentarian advises but does not overrule decisions. Are you guys fine with that, or would you like it changed or amended?
I had a question on the public comment after procedure for items leading to a motion. So we're going to speak about things leading to a motion, and we're going to allow the public to comment at
That's how
that
it's written in
moment?
resolution.
Okay. All right. So on each one of these, the public has an opportunity to comment on whatever it is we're discussing.
That's right.
Okay. All right. I'm good with that.
I'm good with it. Just saying here in Resolution 1125 on public comment, that is sign up for both.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where we've only been getting signed up for items not on the
They
agenda.
should be signed up for both. There's a card for both in the lobby.
all right.
And I reminded everybody here today, gave them the
Okay.
opportunity.
All right,
So
I'm good with it.
if you are both good with this, I move we adopt this as procedure.
I second.
Train,
Yes.
Milburn,
Yes.
Beerbauer.
Yes. All right, moving right on along to item number 2, reorganization, appointment of chair and vice chair of the commission. Any nominations?
I nominate you, David.
I second.
Milburn.
No?
Yes.
Beerbauer.
Yes.
Train.
Yes. I
Thank you,
nominate.
guys.
I
Thank you.
nominate Commissioner Milburn for vice.
I'll second.
Beerbauer.
Yes.
Train.
Yes.
Milburn.
Yes.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Okay. You're fine. I just don't want to rush it.
Thank
Trying to
you.
rush meetings, I don't know why we do.
Okay. Sorry.
All right, I move that we approve the minutes from 6/16/25 as previously distributed. Any corrections?
I sent a couple corrections to Susan,
And then change them.
and Susan changed them. So the correction was where it read, Micah seconded the motion, all approved, the commissioners left the executive session room early. Rather than early, I asked that they put the time stamp that we left the room. And then the other one was on the, and Susan said she changed it, so 1, 2, 3, 4. The 5th page, Susan said Greg asked the commission to appoint somebody to get the advisory board going, and I just asked that budget be put in there, so it was for clarification.
Okay,
So
All right.
I move,
so as corrected.
yes,
So
right, yeah.
I move that we approve the minutes for 6/16/25 as corrected.
I second.
Train.
Yes.
Milburn.
Yes.
Beerbauer.
Yes. Okay. I move that we approve the consent agenda, approval of 6/20/25 accounts payable totaling $220,396.49, and May financials.
Second.
Milburn.
Yes.
Beerbauer.
Yes.
Yes.
And next up on the item 4, no, 6, I'm sorry. KAMP information, Mr. David Lamb.
Can you read this?
Good evening, sir.
Evening. All right, have a seat here.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, we'll just put it-
I think I have 6 copies of this.
Okay.
And of course, we have to give some things away every time we come around, so there's some pens and some chapsticks, if you're all interested in having those. So, I'm David Lamb with KAMP. I was formerly the Lynn County Clerk for 20 years, just retired. And I just kind of want to go through some of the benefits of KAMP and what we're about, and then see if you have any questions for us. So on the right side of your folder, there's some general information on KAMP. The first thing we always like to remind everyone is that we are a pool that is owned by the member counties. We're not an insurance company. So with that, our idea is we are here to help counties. Now, obviously, we're providing your coverage for property and liability, and we follow a lot of the same regulations that insurance companies do, but we try to take a different view at it. We're not just in this to make a profit, we're trying to help the counties. We were formed in 1991, in a kind of a similar time to now, when insurance rates were going crazy and it was hard for people to get coverage, and formed this as an option for counties to get into. We have since expanded into cities and some other municipality members. We started with 37 counties, and we now have 81 of the 105 counties in the state. So we've grown a lot. We've got 11 cities and 21 other municipalities that are also members. And page 11 in there, there's a map of Kansas with all the shaded counties that are members of KAMP. So you can see that we do have the biggest share of them. The KAMP board is made up of elected officials from member counties. We have a 7-member board. We tried to keep a ratio of 3 clerks, 3 commissioners, and a sheriff on that board. Right now we are looking for a clerk. We've got 1 opening, so we're still trying to fill 1 spot. But we like to have that ratio on there, and our reasoning behind that is KAMP typically deals with the clerks, or in some cases the administrators if there is one in the county, and the commissioners, of course, because they're the decision makers for the counties. And then we like having a sheriff on the board just to get that law enforcement point of view, because there are a lot of claims that come up from jails and law enforcement activities. So there's a listing there of the Board of Trustees. The second one on the list, Sarah Raines, is the one we're trying to find a replacement for right now. And John Smith will be going off also, but like I said, we are looking for a clerk for the board. So if you're aware of any clerks that are members around the state that would be interested, we'd be interested in having their names. So listing of staff and our coverage lines. And like I say, I'm not going to go through everything in here. I do want to touch a little bit on page 19. It gets into how our programs are structured. There, of course, are deductibles right on the bottom layer that the counties will have to meet for claims. After that, the blue bar going across there is the KAMP retention area. So for property, as an example, up to $400,000 is actually paid out of KAMP funds when there are claims. When it goes above that, KAMP has reinsurance with a pool that is made up of these insurance pools all over the country. And we are an owner member of it. It's called County Reinsurance Limited. And then the bar above that, CRL Property Plus, is also part of that group where the different pools have bought into it and invested in that group. So we are, in a way, self-insuring with a group that manages all these pools all over the country. And then if that something actually gets to over 30 million on claims, that's when we get into things like Lloyd's of London and Bermuda syndicates, and hopefully we never have to get into that layer because we don't want to see any claims that big. The liability and other programs are similar structures. It all starts with a deductible, then the KAMP layer, and then the reinsurance layer. And then when you get back to page 22, it talks about surplus or leverage ratios. This is what the board looks at every year to determine the financial stability of KAMP and the possibility of paying back dividends to the members. We did pay dividends, I believe it was in 2017, and unfortunately right after that we got hit with a lot of claims 2 or 3 years in a row that were really rough, and we haven't built back up to where we've paid any more dividends since then. But that is something the board will look at every year. But our ratios are much stronger than what the baseline ratios are that are shown on that page. So financially we are in good shape. We just don't have enough surplus build up yet that we're quite ready to start paying any back out. And then the page after that talks about some of the risk management, and I really want to look at what's in the left side of your folder and just highlight a few of those things, different programs that you can take advantage of. And these are some of the things that KAMP does that you typically are not going to get from an insurance company. Just at the top of the list there, the first thing is attorney assist. We have contracted with Folston out of Wichita and with Forest Roads to be our attorney that's on call for members. You can call him at any time at no cost to the county. That's all covered as part of your membership in KAMP. I looked back at the last 4 years on your records, and it looks like you guys have used that quite a bit. The least calls in any of those years was in '22. There were 5. The last 2 years, you've had 9 calls into attorney assist each year. So that service is there if things come up. He's especially good at HR issues that happen to come up. I know when I was clerk, my counselor would often tell me, or we'd discuss things and pretty much have an agreement on what we wanted to do, and then he'd say, just go ahead and call Forrest, let's get his opinion before we do it too. So he's a good resource for you. We also can review contracts for you if you need any assistance with that, just to make sure that the county is being covered on any contracts you're entering into. We have a Know Before program that is on cyber awareness for your employees. We've negotiated discounts for that program, and I did not look, I'm not sure if you guys participate in that yet or not, but that's something that's available to you. It does cyber training for all your employees, usually once a quarter or sometimes once every 6 months. I will also send emails out to them to try to get them to click on links just to test them to see if they're paying attention or not, and if they click on some of those, then they're going to get a notice that they need to take another course. So it's just a good reminder for them. The Kansas legal-based jail guidelines, I do see that you guys participated in that. Looks like you got started back in 2016 and completed that in 17. We offer defensive driving courses. We can come out and do that. We've actually only got one person in the office right now that's doing them. We've got another person that's going to get the training so he can teach it too. It's a good thing to have your employees take, and it also helps the employee out as an incentive to get them to go to those classes. They should be able to get a discount on their own car insurance when they show the certificate from that class. And I looked back in 2017, it looked like you had 38 people that took that here. I didn't see anything in our records after that, but I know K-Work also offers that program, so you could get something through them that's very similar if you wanted to. The roof maintenance program is something we've just gotten into in the last couple of years. We've contracted with Stanfield Roofing, and we're trying to encourage members to take a look at their rooftops and see what kind of shape they're in. And this company will do roof maintenance for you. If you want to contract with them, we've negotiated a 40% discount on their normal rates, where they can come out and do inspections and repair things for you. Just trying to be proactive on that, because if your roof is in better shape and we do get some storms, you're not going to have as much damage. So we're trying to just keep that on everyone's mind to make sure your roof's in good shape. There's lots of classes that can be put on for employees through the online university or Mineral HR, and all this information's on our website if it's things that your county would like to get into. And then one more thing we've been talking about quite a bit with counties is the risk avoidance program, or risk avoidance grant. And looking back on that, at least the last 3 years, you guys have taken advantage of that. But that is where we will pay you back up to $2,000 a year for purchases you make that could help reduce risk. And looking back the last few years, you've bought some grill guards. Looks like there were fire extinguishers and tarps and some snow plow lights. So just things like that that could help reduce risk. That money is there for you every year. It does not build up from year to year. It's just $2,000 each year. So if you miss it for a year, you've missed out. So we encourage you to take advantage of that every year. So that's really the main things I wanted to touch on tonight. And other than that, my card is in the folder there. I work part-time for KAMP. I actually work from home. I live up in Mound City. So I'm not far away if something does come up here and you need some help with it. I may not always have all the answers you're looking for, like the full-time staff would, but I can definitely get you to the right person if you've got questions, if I can't answer it for you. So with that, did any of you have any questions for me?
Thank you.
All right, well, I appreciate your time. Thanks for letting me come in.
Thank you.
Have a good evening. Okay.
Thank you.
And then we're gonna move up your,
Yes, Steve
okay.
Prasco.
You have the
and
floor.
Jason Rinkner. Steve, want to come on up?
This is who I am.
Thank you.
I guess I'm here to field some questions and just kind of introduce Advantage Computers to commissioners. So, as it's stated on the agenda, my name's Steve Prasco. I'm one of the owners of Advantage Computers in Iola, Kansas. It's a 40-year-old company. I've worked there for 31 years. We do all things IT for all sorts of organizations, whether it's county or city or hospital or just you name the profession, we can service it. Having done it for as long as we have, we run into about every walks of profession, schools, whatever. Anyways, so I was called by Commissioner Micah to field some questions and just offer up some input and see if there's anything that we can do or assist, or if nothing else, just informational. We handle a lot of counties around here. We handle almost every district court in southeast Kansas, and then we handle counties from full, we're there once a week. That's our routine, to call us if you need us. Special projects, something don't work, we come running. So it's across the board as far as services. It's based on probably more so the size of the county and the amount of technology that's in the building. So we're a call us when you need us kind of service, but we do have some contracts, like I said, that are pretty regular.
And so you have expertise in municipalities?
Yeah, we do some quite a few cities. So in the municipality world, so I'm introducing yourself as Advantage Computers, but the other half of our company is a division called Jayhawk Software, and we sell utility billing, fund accounting, municipal court all over the country, from California to Florida. So we're not. We regionally do the hardware side, 3 states. Missouri, Oklahoma, and Kansas, predominantly heavy in Kansas, of course. And then our software side is nationwide. So we sell and service. And some of our cities, they do, their entire budget is their software, their hardware. It's a one-call deal. They just call us and we take care of it. And so they're not all that way. Some we just do the hardware, some we just do the software. It just depends on the situation.
Okay. This is a list of some questions. Those are some prompted questions that you can maybe look at and answer.
Okay, so area of expertise. So one thing that makes us a little unique from a company standpoint is we service, I don't know how many banks it is. It's 20 to 25 banks. The locations is probably more than that, but and what's unique about that is that we get audited every year for the technology that we deploy, and so that's a little different than I think a lot, because we're graded. Our installations are graded and reviewed by the FDIC, and we're given a point, or a pass-fail kind of thing, and so that's kind of interesting for how we do business because of that scenario. So area of expertise, having done this for myself for 31 years, when we roll into a new customer, we usually tell them we do everything but copiers. So audio, video, we do this for courts all over. I don't want to come off sounding arrogant, but we do a lot of stuff. So there's our expertise is technology,
Okay.
whether it's firewalls or.
Yeah. Okay. And so you can just move on down that list. If you see anything prompted that you want to answer, you can answer it for us.
On the security, on the cyber stuff, I actually am the one that probably handles a little bit of that from our company because we're members of the KRWA, Cancer Water Association, and I'm as well as Missouri, and I'm usually asked to come on occasion to come down and do their cyber awareness and training and stuff like that. So got a little bit of expertise in that. The unique thing about tech, so anyone that says, so I have a saying that you can bring 5 guys like me and they'll tell you 5 different ways to do the same thing. And it's all based on experience, what they're comfortable with, what they have knowledge about, things of that nature. And so there's not like you do it this way and that is the only way you do it. We have a way of doing it, like I said, with the banks. So we're kind of locked into our configuration, the firewalls that we like, the antivirus we like, the domain controllers that we, something that makes us a little bit unique is we build our own stuff. So our PCs and our servers are built by us. We don't sell other people's product. If you have a problem with something I sell, you have a problem with me, you call me and say, hey, that doesn't work, and you sold it to me, and we fix it. And so that's kind of a unique situation that we are in. But from a security standpoint, where I was going with the cyber thing, that changes daily. I mean, first off, if anyone tells you you're 100%, you got the wrong person at the table. Nothing's 100%, in my opinion. If the Pentagon can get hacked, anybody can get hacked. All you're doing, in my professional opinion, is increasing the defense mechanisms. You're putting things in play to increase the protection to limit. And you can do the pen testing, the penetration testing, and the various educations that come with that. And we can blanket emails out and see who clicks on what and do training that way. But anyways, I'll keep going. Compliance standards, that rolls right into the bank. We've already kind of covered that.
Okay.
Security testing, that's to do as much as you can afford. Because we run into some that have you can't open a file without permission of the IT company, and that's good. But with that kind of level of security comes the patience of, well, I can't open that file until somebody calls me and opens up that USB drive that's locked down on my computer. So that can be all across the board as far as how you address those kind of things. Transparency. We have a product. It's an MSP product that we deploy in all our banks in several counties that I call it a tech in a box. It sits there and just monitors all the computers, servers, firewall. Is it updated? Has it been updated? Is it out of date? What needs to be done? Is there a failure on a server, on a motherboard, or on a hard drive? And then it actually deploys us. It actually emails us and say, hey, we have a problem here. All that's reportable. We can provide that, and that's one of the things that really puts us ahead in the FDIC world, because we can provide those reports and say, hey, here's what's kind of going on. Backup. That's something we do ourselves. I have my own cloud service in Iola, Kansas, and we have a proprietary. Because I have programmers, we can kind of write our own stuff, which opens up the market a little bit to us to do unique things, which we do all the time. But we have a solution that we put in we call it a black box. It sits right next to the server. The server dumps the data. That's a copy of the data, and then that data then is securely transferred to my vault, and then there's another copy of the data. So in my world, you can't have enough copies of data, and we also want an external hard drive. We want as much data placement as you can, because if you do get encrypted for whatever reason, because ultimately Susie can open up whatever email she wants because she's she loves it when JCPenney sends her emails, and she opens it, he opens it, doesn't matter who he or she, I'm not trying to pick on Susie, I'm just saying, or JCPenney's, but anyway, you know, you open yourself up to, with that situation. And sometimes it's innocent and it's well designed on the email situation. So backup, where I'm going with that is, that's your last line of defense. If you walk in, which has happened, aware of many, you walk in and everything's locked down. Blue screen is like, okay, you're encrypted. You can either pay it or you can go to backup, and hopefully you have done your backups well enough that it's offsetting, so you're not restoring the corrupt data. But anyways,
So how often do you back up?
every night,
So once a day, once in 24 hours?
yeah, every night. And
Is there options to back up more often?
yes, the problem depends on the size or the customer, as far as, because we do run into some situations where I need you to get out of your data because I need you to shut it down so I can grab it.
Right.
Whereas if you're running a parallel network where you have two servers and they're running, they're mirrored, well, then we might be able to pull off there. But it's kind of a custom situation that we do with our black box. So we like the customers just to get out of the system, and then we go full bore on it overnight. And what's unique about, because the reason it's custom or why we did what we did is because we only get the difference. We don't get the whole data. We just get what you did for that day, and that's kind of unique for the way we do it. Government policy. As far as we don't really write policy. That's kind of our customers' responsibility, if you were. We're not. We like when we were in the heat of COVID, I was helping set policy. You know, the judge would call and say, "How are we going to handle this? How are we going to handle that?" And I'm like, "Well, this is how we do this. This is how we do that," and write the policy based on it. But it wasn't me writing the. Well, I won't say it was a little bit, but anyways. Let's see, vendor management. Do they vet and monitor their own third-party vendors? So I got asked one time by commissioners where the antivirus was made the Trend Micro that we deploy, and I'm like, good question. I'm not going to say we sit around all day and figure out who manufactured that very product. Obviously, we try to stay out of nefarious actors, and those products that are designed by, an antivirus that's coming from China or Russia. Obviously, we wouldn't want to use that to defend. But
Point of order. Could you ask silent cell phones, please?
Yeah, could people please silence your cell phones?
make sure mine is.
Thank you.
So, from a simplistic standpoint, I did some analysis for the couple of counties that we do business with, and just to kind of, because like I said, some of them were top to bottom. I mean, we do all of their IT, and I have some rate sheets for you that you guys are welcome to. You can hand that down if you want. But we, in the analysis I did, just to kind of see on the counties that we, I know it's here somewhere. We had, come on now. There we go. We had, I did a 5.5-year analysis, and I've been asked to do this before for another county where they had an IT department, and they just asked me to come in and visit a little bit. So familiar with this type of event, but we average for one of our counties that are your population about 14,000. So the county just a little bit smaller than you. We're doing somewhere around, we're averaging about 533 hours a year. And that's the one thing that's interesting when we did that, because I don't usually audit myself. I did that because I was asked to try to provide some perspective. And so from that, when I did that, I was looking and noticing that, well, we did a lot of COVID work too. So there was a lot of COVID projects that upped that a little bit, obviously. And so when you talk about what that turns into from a financial standpoint, we're probably averaging from perspective of costs around $39,000 a year to support a county that's of similar size. But that's some of those counties have been with us for 20 plus years. So you know, they've for example, we have a 3-year rotation. We replace a third of the computers every year, so that every 3 years we're always up to date, modern, and staying current. If the budget doesn't allow, we might go 4 years, 25% of the computers, servers, whatnot, every 4 years, just because the budget may not allow it that year or whatever. But those are things you have to do. I mean, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when you're going to replace that stuff. And so.
Anybody have any questions? Or
There's
you have
no
more to say?
on-site support?
Say again?
There's no on-site support?
We're on site, of those counties that I just mentioned, once a week.
Once a week?
Yeah.
But not daily?
No, so our business model, if it hits daily, we're not your company. Because it just doesn't, just from the way I work, if I'm gonna hit into the 50s and the 60s and the $70,000 in billable hours, you need to start looking at an IT guy,
Gotcha.
But our situation is normally, the way we embrace it is, first off, you usually can't just have one. So if you're gonna employ one for 60 or 70, you're gonna probably have to have two, because that individual's gonna have to have time off. So then, well, if you have to have two and you're at $140 or more $1,000 a year, there's a balance there where it reaches a point of like, okay, we have 150, 250 computers. It's taking constant monitoring and assistance, and that's not us. That's just not us. It gets to the point where it's just economically not feasible. Now we do embrace some larger banks that have full IT departments, and when they do a massive rollout and they want to hit all 20 or 30 locations, they call us and we disperse with them and add that extra value, because they're going to do a massive rollout and they ain't got enough staff. They don't have enough staff to hit them all in one swing. So we've done stuff like that too to help embrace IT. But
Thank you.
you bet.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Jason?
Thank you. This is, yeah, I can do that. This is Avion. He came
Avion.
along for the better looks of the duo, but he is actually our chief technical officer at Stronghold Data. So I really appreciate the invitation to come up and visit with you tonight. I represent a company by the name of Stronghold Data. Avion and I, you've been there, what, 7 years. Before that, he was in the healthcare with Freeman Hospital, based out of Joplin. I've been there over a decade now. It seems like just, yesterday, time flies. But for the company itself, we have been in business for going on 35 years. In just a few days, we're going to have that birthday to celebrate. And again, we're based out of Joplin, Missouri. If you ever go down I-44, 49 interchange, you'll see our office, right there. I did bring each of you commissioners some information that just kind of talks about the company. One of the things I guess I'll share with you where we are a little bit different, and we really adhere to our mission statement and our core values. We're a faith-based organization and have been, and so our mission statement is we want to empower our clients and our team members to thrive. And so we take that to heart in that we're not going to come in here and say this is the way that you have to do your IT. We want to look at what your existing resources are, what are you trying to accomplish, and then how can we come alongside and enable you as a county to thrive as you're serving the citizens of Bourbon County. Under that, we have four core values, and it's healthy relationships. We're want to make sure that whatever bond that is between the county and Stronghold Data, that it stays healthy. And so that's going to start on the backbone of communication. And so with communication, we have multiple points of conversation going on from a technical side, but also from a business objective side, because each of your department heads and elected officials all have different objectives within that. And so I'll pick on your sheriff's office right now. I had the pleasure of speaking at the KCGS conference. And so we're always going to these conferences to learn more and share what we're seeing, but also learning what's impacting them. So as a county, your sheriff and law enforcement, they have to follow a lot of the CGIS regulations when it comes to technology, and that may be different than other offices, but we want to make sure we have the conversation at this level, at the department head level, at the elected official level, and make sure we understand what makes sense. The personal initiative is we challenge each of our employees at Stronghold Data to make sure that they're giving their best. And part of that is that Jesus Christ was here on this earth to serve, and we want to make sure that we're here to serve our clients as well. So those are some of the things, and I'd be happy to share our entire mission statement and core values with you. From a client perspective, we've been in this business long before there were cell phones, back when it was the green screen, and we started out by building computers and assembling those to where now we're doing full services. And when you look at services, there's really two sides. There's the risk mitigation side that you have to worry about, and that's that cybersecurity, where when we talk about risk mitigation, it's going to start with an assessment, and you need to do those assessments on a regular basis, whether that's annually, biannually, but there needs to be some sort of assessment to see where you're at, and then we need to align you with whatever regulations you want to do. And so you have different regulatory bodies that impact you as a county. One of those, like I mentioned, is CGIS. We need to take into account, if you are going to fall under HIPAA guidelines as you're collecting information. All of those generally align with a standard called NIST 800-171. And those NIST standards really provide a basic framework for all organizations to follow. Now, there's different flavors within that, but that's generally the one that a lot of people look to. And so under risk mitigation with the assessment, we also want to work with your insurance providers, whoever those are, because you guys are going to be looking at cyber liability insurance. Those things change on a daily basis. So if we can reduce the risk from the county, maybe that will show up in some of your premiums that you're paying. But we also want to make sure that should, or if that bad day ever happens, which typically you can see that that risk is continuing to escalate from a cyber perspective. We also want to know what that disaster recovery plan is and who's going to perform those incident responses. So, that's on that side of the coin, and we have done a lot. We've been part of incident response plans for municipalities, counties, manufacturers. So not only have we been there to help our clients prepare for those bad days, but we've been called in to perform those incident responses of people that fell victim to cybercrime. And sometimes that cybercrime is nation state actors, like you're overseas, but you also have employees that sometimes do things that they're not supposed to do. And so we want to make sure that you're protected in those manners as well. With that, we again align with these standards because we want the county to be prepared to, no matter if they want to shift IT services from one company, bringing on people, they need to follow industry standards. So that way everyone can come in and there's not like this just, this is the unique way that we've done it, and so you're kind of stuck into that. So if we can follow industry standards, then really you can pass those keys to whoever needs those keys. And a lot of this industry that we've done, we've serviced a southeast Kansas county for over a quarter century. That's just here locally, but we have our footprint in 4 states, Missouri, Arkansas, Oklahoma, and Kansas here, that we've done county, municipality from a public sector. We also do a lot in the healthcare, financial, insurance, manufacturing, and nonprofits. So those are really a lot of the industry, we're in. Typically, the insurance, the industries that you're in, they may sound different, but, from a technology perspective, you're all still using the same tools, it's the software sometimes that differs a little bit, but you're all in that same industry. So that's kind of where we play, and we touch all of the different standards like the FDIC or the state banking. From public sector, you have a lot of different aspects. Healthcare has the HIPAA. Nonprofits have some different things. Under the insurance and wealth management, you have some other, standards that you have to follow. We also do a lot in the legal sector as well. So well versed in those. On the other side, when we're talking about risk management and the cybersecurity, this is where the fun part really begins. Is technology, when it came on, technology was here to help us enable to do more and to do things faster. And that's been every industrial revolution we've ever gone through, whether it's the steam engine to where we got the internet, and now we're rolling into full-on artificial intelligence. And some people think we're lighting up Skynet, and there's a lot of different concerns there, but in any organization that you work with, these newer technologies are coming, and we want to make sure that not only it's safe, secure, and ready to use, but how can that impact the citizens and the employees of Bourbon County? Because if we can enable you to use your existing staff, we don't want to sit there and replace people, but if you can empower your existing staff to do more and at a cost savings, those are the things that we have to look at. So looking at where you're at technologically and how can we help you get to a spot, and that's working with all your existing employees and understanding what they're trying to accomplish. That is where we assign somebody that's here for Bourbon County to really understand your objectives on a regular basis, and they want to come in and meet in what we call them quarterly business reviews, or QBRs. The QBRs is where we really want to sit down with those folks on a quarterly basis. Maybe that's too aggressive and we need to do semi-annual, but we want to come in and making sure that whatever technology plan is put before this county, it meets their objectives, it meets their plan. So we want to work together. We never just want to, like I said, come in and say, you have to do this. So those individuals are really there to make sure that the business needs of the county are being met from a risk perspective and leveraging the technology that you have. The other, we talked about support. We support a lot of these, especially your law enforcement. They got to be 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And so out of the Joplin office, we're able to support most of what we do remotely. With internet, COVID was a way for us to all see that you can do a lot of things remotely. And so out of that office, we will support it. Now, on nights and weekends, those calls roll to our call center. That call center is based here in the United States of America, so it meets the CJIS standards. So that way, because anyone that's touching your IT should be CJIS certified and on file with the state of Kansas. And under that, all of those people that take those calls on nights and weekends, if it's what we call a level 1 call, they're going to be able to solve that for them. So you're not waiting for somebody to be woke up. If it starts getting to your priority 2s, priority 3s, that's a pretty serious issue. And so that call center then will wake up Avion and his team, and then we'll triage it from there. And that handoff is a warm handoff when it comes to support. But our goal is to minimize those number of hours that your employees are calling for support, or needing support. Because that means if they're waiting on technology support, then they're not able to do what they need to do and accomplish in their day's work. So our goal is to try to minimize the number of times. And I know that sounds weird in a business model, like, hey, the less you have to call me, the better it is. And, but that's truly how technology, functions. I think I've kind of answered this areas of expertise, and those different things. Security mindset, we do follow that NIST 800-171 framework.
Can you say that again?
NIST, NIST, it's the National Institute of Standards and Tech, and then it's 800.171. That's the main one. There's other versions of that. There's 3 different versions, yeah. And so a lot of that's aligning with, I don't know if you've heard in the manufacturing space, the CMMC model. CMMC is what anyone that's doing business with the Department of Defense or part of that supply chain, they have to follow that. So that kind of answers the security mindset, the compliance standards. Security testing, we will participate with you on making sure it's meeting our standards from a security perspective and making sure we're all on the same page. We invite folks to come in and test those. There's some resources that the counties can call in that are at no cost to you to test that. We work with like CISA at a federal level. We work with your state agencies of Missouri Homeland Security to kind of do some of those tests. In fact, we actually go around the state teaching with CISA and Homeland Security on how a county or any public sector, we invite municipalities, libraries, health departments, 911 centers, we invite them all in and we do ransomware tabletops. So the leaders of those organizations, whoever's doing your technology has enough on their plate to worry about, but there's a lot of decisions that have to be made with insurance companies, with the legal system. I mean, at one point, if you had a cyber incident and you were going to turn in a cyber insurance claim, you couldn't talk to law enforcement, which became very difficult for municipalities and in our public sector folks, counties, because it could impact your sheriff. So that's why we want to work with all parties, including your insurance companies, on that. So security testing, we provide those reports, we do the testing, we invite others to come in and validate our work. Transparency, how we do that is we have a ton of reports. I mean, we can inundate you with reports. We set up where the county and people that are given access to it, you tell us who needs access to it, they can click on a secure link, and then all of the reports are right there for your viewing. And you can go down through all of those reports at any time. Collaboration, I think I kind of covered that with our quarterly business reviews where we really want to sit down. Typically, we're probably going to see you at some of the statewide conferences if you're going to these, and that's where we're doing a lot of the trainings. Our service level agreement, basically, again, it's based on that priority level, and so we can manipulate those service level agreements whatever makes sense for the county. Some people say they want a response in 10 minutes versus 1 hour. Well, 10 minutes is going to be a little more expensive than the 1 hour. From an on-site perspective, we'll come on site, we roll a truck, our contracts and include that. We work with some instances where, like we have one county where we have a Stronghold badged employee in that county, and that's their boots on the ground, if that makes sense. We work with some counties that actually have hired their own IT resources, and then we just set the guardrails of what they do versus what we do, and we work together with them. Or we come in and sometimes and just become the technology department. So our prices are based on how many people we're supporting, how many pieces of hardware need all of these different security layers, what level of support. So again, we don't have this, here, take this or leave it. We want to sit down and work with the county and make sure whatever we offer makes sense to the county. The backup and resilience, we actually have a data center in Springfield, Missouri. It's in an old limestone inactive mine. It's 85 feet underground. It is a SOC 2 Type 2 audited data center, so we can leverage all of your data in that data center there, or we leverage other vendors where we can take it to the cloud. In the state of Missouri, the clerks, they just had to go through where they have to be audited every year. All their voting stuff has to be air-gapped. So different offices may have different compliance regulations when it comes to backups. So we're going to look at that and make sure we make sense. And I heard your question, Commissioner, and we can be as aggressive on those backups as often as you want. We even use software where it can back up right in the middle of the day while things are going on. We can set up to where if you had declared a natural disaster or a disaster for the county, we can actually have you fired up in the cloud. It's kind of like the donut tire. You don't want to go highway speeds on a donut tire, but it will get you to the next exit. And typically you can run for 30 days on that under those backups. That gives us time to figure out, what you're gonna do there.
For the backups, our standard is every 4 hours.
So your backups every 4 hours?
Every 4 hours is our standard.
The vendor management is probably another differentiator with us as Avion and his team. Under their vendor management, we want to understand what software you're using, what vendors you're working with, because it's not just software vendors. You have security camera vendors, you have print vendors. There was a municipality down in Arkansas that recently had an incident because their elevator vendor remoted in to their office to work on their elevator, and it brought in a malicious threat, which shut down that municipality. So it's not just those software vendors. We want to know any vendor that's touching your network, and we can build a database for you so we can start really helping you understand what they're doing, who's touching what, when are they touching it. We're not experts in all the different software, but we do like to sit down with you and make recommendations based on the technology side. We can't tell you if that software is going to be great in the recorder of deeds or the assessor collector, but we can tell you what it's going to take to protect it, how the information, those are the kinds of things, how it's going to play well in the sandbox with some of your other vendors. So employee training. Your insurance company that was here, they used KnowBe4. That's probably the Cadillac of cyber training, but that's all like web-based, and that's the phishing emails, and we can do that too. We have other tools that we use. Where we really set ourselves apart is we want to do in-person training, and we try to do this once a year, and that is where myself or Avion or others on our team, we want to come in and we'll spend the day. Typically in counties, they do it on enrollment when they go through the benefit enrollment, and they're doing all kinds of training on an annual basis. And we'll spend an hour and ask your employees, and we try to build engaging content because your employees, they need to know what's in it for them. And so I always pick on like Wichita State University when they had the incident out there and they got into the payroll and they weren't able, their payroll was diverted. That's a bad day when your payroll is diverted. But there's other things that we can do from an employee training standpoint is we can gamify it because a lot of people like, playing games. So that there is definitely something we do.
Grants.
Oh yes. We've been successful in helping people apply for grant funding. So, if you have statewide or federal grants, mostly statewide, we'll try to help you, fill out those documents like we do with the insurance side. The last piece, I'll leave you with before, I'm happy to take any questions. Joplin was hit by a tornado in 2011. We're all aware of that. And one of the things that was a very tough day is when you had business owners, public sector, private sector, they're coming to Stronghold Data asking us to save, help them out. And you ask them like, hey, where's your backups? And they're like, well, my backups were in my car. Well, where's your car? Well, my car's gone. The point of my story is you had so many people coming in because of the impact of that disaster. And typically you can't get to everyone. You're going to have to triage that. Well, because of that, that's a risk that people in our industry have, and that should be questions you should be asking is, if something happens to your company, where do we fall in that pecking order? So we asked ourselves that same question, and what we did is in December of 2020, we actually joined a much larger co-op. And so that way we have access to over 1,400 engineers across the United States. So if something happened here locally, we have people that we can call on. But that also enables us to buy the tools and software and stuff at a better rate. So, like Microsoft, I'm assuming all of you use like Excel, Word, possibly, the Outlook for the email, all of those things. We're in the top 1% under the Microsoft, so we can help, with those licensing things. So, my advice to you as commissioners, from a technology standpoint, and any elected officials, be aware of, we're seeing a lot of, from a legal component, is decisions that are made IT-wise, they fall under your fiduciary responsibilities and understanding what the risk is. And I would highly recommend, if you're not doing so now, is on some sort of regular cadence, have an assessment done just to know where you're at, understand where the gaps are, and so you can start going down through that list and making sure as commissioners and overseeing Bourbon County's, official business, that you can sit there and be like, hey, we understand this is a risk. This is what we're going to do the risk. This is how we're mitigating it. These are the decisions we're making. So that would be one of the things if I were in your shoes. So
back to the, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No.
Back to the à la carte. Your ability to give us an à la carte function within the contract. If we pick and choose whatever it is that we need, can you, or do you have the capability of assisting us with formulating a PWS, performance work statement, for the contract?
Yep.
Because I'm spitballing here, but I'm pretty sure that we don't have a contract specialist within the county who can write an IT/type of PWS contract. Make sense?
Yep.
And that PWS is gonna be very critical.
We have.
But you guys can do that.
Yeah, we have access to all of those forms. In fact,
Okay.
I didn't really get to it, but like this, under policies, we help craft policies. So like, as a county, you should have an information technology policy, an acceptable use policy, a password policy. But quite frankly, a lot of the insurance companies we work with, they have that too.
Because all your policies is based off your statutes, of course.
Right.
So even from your retention policy, IT policy, that's your baseline. And then from there, we craft and then do something that's whatever you guys come up together as commissioners. Like, well, we want to have our own policy, but this is the baseline here. So,
Right.
like the example is, if a retention policy is 7 years, then you guys might want to do 8 years, things like that. So you give it to us, we put it in our policy manager, we build it out, we make sure it's correct, then we just review that policy on a cadence of when we do the QBRs. So that's like where my team comes in to shine at, because we do more of a strategic advising, more than chasing down tickets all the time. So we like to be a part of, this new software coming out, there's new plans, new building plans, whatever it is, we want to know about it. And so therefore we can catch little things that you might miss. So.
All right.
If nobody has anything else, I'm pleased with your presentation. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for
Thank you very
Gentlemen,
much.
thank you.
Thank you again.
All right, we'll begin back with old business. Juvenile detention, Mike Walden.
Mike?
Oh, okay. Brought some people with me, hope that's all right. Don't know if we'll have enough chairs for everyone.
Grab a couple more chairs.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Move this down just a little bit. I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Michael Walden. I'm the director of the Juvenile Detention Center for Southeast Kansas. To my right is our business manager, Tammy Graham. To my left is the assistant director, operations manager, Cameron Hicks. Also with us tonight is, let me see where the gentlemen are. Commissioner Moats from Cherokee County and Commissioner Westhoff from Neosho County. They are members of our board of directors. So, I believe I came and addressed the board in April. I could be mistaken. I talked in a public setting, public comments, I believe. I believe I was trying to urge Commissioner Barbauer to make one of our meetings, talk about the importance of coming to one of our meetings, because ultimately, we're not a contracted facility. You own us. You are a 1/10 owner in the detention center. You have over I wouldn't say over, but I would say just at $400,000 of Bourbon County money sitting in Crawford County. you decide to leave, you forfeit that. I don't think you've been given all the information. So I'd like to give you a little background, if I could, if I may, about the detention center and its development. I think that's really important. So the development of the Southeast Kansas Juvenile Detention Center, also known as the SEK or JDC, was an effort to meet the requirement of all Federal Jail Removal Act of 1980, which Congress modified, the Juvenile Justice Delinquent and Prevention, also known as JJDP. So there's a lot here, so it's a lot to unpack. So this requires felony offenders to be out of sight and sound of adult inmates. This requires felony offenders, you can't even house them together, right? So that being said, we have certain restrictions. All detention centers do. We're not any different to that aspect. But we're talking lighting, the amount of natural sunlight that comes into the facility. So the study that the state did proved that one county alone could not provide the funds to run and operate a juvenile detention center amid the standards that was set in place by the state. One county can't do it in Southeast Kansas. I can show you a map, but I'm pretty sure you're all aware that within this region, a majority of the county's population are living below the poverty line. It's just a fact. We are in the poorest area of Kansas. That's why it's important for us to work together. That's why our voice is stronger together than individually. So, to comply, the state commissioned the study to include the development of regional facilities to provide service throughout the state. Bonds were issued. The state issued bonds for the construction of this facility. So the facility was completed in 1994. Met all the requirements for the regional juvenile districts. So you folks here in Bourbon are in the 6th Judicial District. Within your district, you're required to have a juvenile justice plan. Angie Eves did not tell you about that, I don't believe, when I watched that meeting. Your juvenile justice plan is supposed to have detention services. That was met by being owners in our facility. So, the history of the funding for our facility stretches back from the very beginning. 1994 to 2006, they did it per diem basis. They did it per diem. Every county did per diem. Our whole region, everyone did. But what happened is they found that as a commissioner, they couldn't budget. They could not set a budget. One year, we might have 7 kids, 8 kids in detention. The next year, we might have 2. If we don't know what we're going to spend, it's hard to budget for that. And so they come up with a funding formula. So the funding formula does 2 things. One, it takes into account your 4-year history of usage. It doesn't matter if you had the same kid in there 15 times for 300 days or not. It's about bed days. So it takes that average of 4 years and calculates that portion of the funding formula. The other portion of the funding formula is calculated by your population and your valuation of your county. That is how the original bonds were set up for the detention center initially. If you go back that far, 92, I believe it was, 92, 93.
Can you
So-
repeat that last part? I
Yeah,
apologize.
no,
Just
you're
repeat that.
absolutely fine, sir. So the other portion is your population and valuation of your county. And that is, and it fluctuates. A lot of times it's going up because we see it going up. It's kind of the world that we're living in. But that was how they used the funding formula to say, okay, this is how we're going to do it. The board decided, the county commissioners, the representatives as a board decided that. That is not my decision. I work for you guys. So I work for Bourbon County just as much as I work for Cherokee County or Neosho County because we are in it together. So the population evaluation and the bed use is how we formulate what each county pays. So each county doesn't pay the same. Each county doesn't. The larger counties, they pay more. They do. Their crime rate is also higher. That's also something that's really important to talk about. And I will get there. So the management of our facility is a little different. We're more unique in that we go from our census. If we have more kids, we have more people that work. We have a lot of part-time students that come in and work. And when I say students, here's the other thing. If you're working for the sheriff's office, let's say I'm 18 years old, I'm just out of school, maybe I even have a GED, and I want to go to work for the sheriff's office. I can get a job and work at the jail. You can do that. You cannot do that in detention. You cannot. You must be 21. Plus, you must also have 3 hours of psychology, 3 hours of sociology, something in the behavioral health. Because at the end of the day, we're working with kids. And that's a requirement from the state. So that's why it's a little more difficult for us to hire people. Now, we hire from everywhere. We hire from Bourbon County. We hire from Cherokee County. We hire from Crawford County, Neosho County. We hire from everywhere. We work with Pitt State. And the thing about that is when we work with Pitt State, we're a little different than the other detention centers. Now, I've heard it said that we're not, but that's not true. And I know no one here has been to our facility. I don't believe I've even seen the sheriff at our facility in quite a few years. So that being said, we work with Pitt State and their social work program. We have practicum students that will come in and work with the mental health issues of the kids that we have. Ultimately, we want to make them better than when we got them. And ultimately, they're going back into our communities. And so we do hire some Pitt State students who meet those qualifications set forth by the state. So we don't work people unless our census requires it, right? So we can have one staff for 7 kids. We have 12 kids, almost 13. I think one's coming in tonight. 13 juveniles at our facility. We are running 3 staff and one's in training. So one's training and doing job, shadowing, that kind of thing. But with those 3 staff, we meet the requirements for the state. We have one person manned in our control room, checking the phone, checking the security cameras, doing all the paperwork and things that we need to do there. So the other 2 are out there on the floor with the felony offenders. So we talk about detention. It's important to know that the majority of the detention centers in the state have juvenile intake on site. They don't have an Angie Eads at the 6th district. They don't have an Angie Hadley from Crawford, or Gina Dolacek, or Kenneth Feike, or a Troy Smith. These are all the directors of JAC, of juvenile intakes, throughout our region. 170,000 people. And I'm working or trying to work with those individuals. What they don't tell you is for JAC office, their funding is through the DOC, the Kansas Department of Corrections. When they don't send a kid to detention, regardless of the reason, they get funding for that kid. But they also decide who comes to detention. So I've had conversations with the governor's office. I've had conversations with the Secretary Zamuda and the Deputy Secretary Megan Milner. There's definitely a conflict of interest there. They're using the KDAI instrument, and I know that you heard that. I know Angie Eads spoke about that. That instrument doesn't work. The state even said it doesn't work. When I had our meeting with Zamuda, he even reported to me that our region isn't utilizing the tool correctly. They're not using it correctly. That's what he reported to me. That's exactly what he reported to me. He said more training needs to be done. I talked to Kenneth Feike. Kenneth Feike is the former director of Franklin County, who closed. Franklin County had their own detention center, and they closed. When they closed, they moved all their kids to Douglas County, and they worked with Miami County. That's where Miami County sent their kids, was to Franklin. So when I had a conversation with him and talked to him about that conflict, he said, "You're right. But you know what? I'm actually in a committee right now to revamp the instrument that we're using. We're going to get more kids in detention, Mike, because that tool doesn't work." I said, "Well, that's what I've been trying to say." I reached out to the governor's oversight committee for juvenile justice. It's appointed through the governor. There is not one single member of that committee that represents our region. 170,000 people. And the governor has no one on there from our region. So when I had that meeting with Secretary Zamuda, I told him, I said, "This isn't right. I'm getting calls from other agencies. We had a drive-by shooting. Where are those kids? I guess around your community." That's happening in Southeast Kansas. We had another incident where a juvenile beat her foster mom bad. So much so she went to a hospital. And that juvenile beat 2 other kids in the home. 3 people were assaulted. She was arrested, taken to juvenile intake. Guess what? She didn't come to detention. DCF called our agency looking for her because they thought she was arrested. We have more of a problem here in Southeast Kansas and across the state. I've talked to a lot of people and a lot of legislators. This is a bad problem. There is a bill right now that passed the House to repeal 75% of Senate Bill 367 that started this. That's a big deal. It passed the House with 109 to 16 bipartisanship. That's crazy to me, to think that everywhere in the state they're having the same problems with juveniles not being held accountable. I'm overwhelmed. I'm overwhelmed because when you look at the crime index and KBI crime index, you're going to see that violent crimes are 9.8 above a 10-year average. I mean, it's crazy. Juvenile offenders. Juvenile offenders. According to the Kansas Juvenile Justice Oversight Committee, they reported in 2017, there was 7,552 contacts with law enforcement and juveniles. That's a lot. We got Senate Bill 367 because of that. That should help us. We can use our KDAI instrument and send those kids back to our communities. But in 2024, last year, there was 7,286 contacts with juveniles and law enforcement agencies. But yet our detention centers are empty. There's a serious problem. A serious problem. So, the state has struggled with placements of juveniles. That's a given. They can't send some of them to detention, and that's created a dangerous situation for workers, agencies, your TFIs, your KBCs. You're seeing reports of workers getting assaulted and those kids getting arrested and not coming to detention. There was a 13-year-old that was sexually assaulted in Olathe a few years back because they were having kids in offices because they couldn't send them to detention anymore. They can't send them different places. So there are other forms of bed use that we can utilize with our detention center. And Mr. Bibauer, Commissioner Bibauer, no disrespect to you, but this was really important to come to these meetings because What we're trying to do right now is create revenue for our detention center. We have an opportunity to utilize 7 of our beds, and it will not take away from our detention center, but could generate $540,000 for our region, which would drive our detention fees down. And that money could be put back into our communities. So I tried to get everyone, and these gentlemen here could attest, I try to get letters of encouragement and support for this to try and get the state to allow us to do that, because I think it'd be really important to have more tools in our tool belt for our kids in our community. When we send kids out of Southeast Kansas, what are we doing? We're utilizing a different facility. We're sending our money that's hard earned in the lowest, in the highest group of people living below the poverty line, that hard earned money to outside regions. We're sending our money and resources. You're going to lose an officer when you go up there to take that individual to 2 hours away. You're taking your money and just throwing it away to Douglas County and Johnson County?
Well, I mean, does Bourbon County not utilize your detention center?
They utilize us.
Well, I mean, are you saying that we send kids to somewhere else besides you?
Oh, no, I'm just going
I mean,
off of
I'm
your-
just wondering what relevance that has.
We had a group here last week talking
They-
about
Oh.
alternatives.
Yes, sir.
I got you.
Yes, they had a budget meeting here.
Because
in
we send
regard
it
to that.
We send it to
Yeah,
you.
absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, I believe there's one right now. I believe there's an intake right now from Bourbon County. And I tell everyone who works for us, when Bourbon County calls, we work for Bourbon County. Treat them with the utmost respect, because we're part of Bourbon County. And too many times we're looked at as a vendor with our hand out. And that's not the case. We are part of you. We're part of Bourbon County. We don't use our fire department all the time, but thank goodness we have it. I can remember a time, not that long ago, where there was a very serious crime, and that young man was in our facility for probably, 400 days, Miss Tammy? Close to? He was there for first degree from Bourbon County. That was a long time. I also remember another incident, going back, and of course I watched your commission meeting last week. I was upset that we weren't invited to the conversation. I heard talk about several years ago. Well, several years ago we had a young man, and we had about 6 or 7 of them from Bourbon County, and this young man had an incident in our facility. And that's what prompted the discussion about leaving 7 years ago. Might be 8 years ago now. That was an incident with medical expenses exceeding $120,000. We went to bat for Bourbon County like we would do all our counties. We got that negotiated down to $4,000. We saved Bourbon County $116,000 right off of the go with that young man and that individual. That's why I think it's important for us to have members that are coming to the meetings and that is there and that sees what we're doing there. And I would encourage everyone that's at this table to come. I've got some paperwork that we have to sign, but come to our facility, see our facility, see what we do there. See how we work with the kids that are there for those severe crimes. Because I guarantee you, we're going to treat them better than anywhere else you're going to go. So the other thing, there's a few other things that I'd like to talk about. The other thing is we know that there's a PTRF here. I don't know if that's the correct classification of it, but in the new old hospital. And I say new old hospital because I was born at Fort Scott. I've been to Fort Scott. I taught in Fort Scott. I like Fort Scott. I have roots here, so to speak. So I'm not just saying that just to say it. But at the new old hospital, you have a PTRF that's located up there. Just having that facility within your county increases your risk of bad behavior and behavior kids. And if they change that law and it does pass, that could be bad. That could be drastically bad for you guys. It just could. Again, I just think that the other important issue when it comes to the detention center, it takes us all working together to make it work. We can't do it without one or the other. We've had that happen. Can't really discuss that. I talked to legal counsel today. I'm not going to talk about that per se, but I think that is important to note. That
What is important to note?
working together, that we should all work together. I think that's important to note because it helps work the detention center and fund the detention center, because not one person can do it by themselves. When that interlocal agreement was signed by your county commissioners, that's what that was for.
What year was that signed?
That was, I wasn't there, I don't know if it was 92 or 93, 92? 92, oh, thank you.
So you speak of working together, would you want to come to the table and work something else out that's different than that agreement signed in 92?
That would be up to the board of directors. I can't answer for the board of directors. Again, that's why coming to these meetings is so important, because your voice matters, and coming and talking to them is what it would take. I can't answer for these board of directors. I can only put out what I know and what I've seen and what I've dealt with firsthand.
Sheriff,
Has
want to
any-
speak? Go ahead.
Has anybody else come to the board, ask for them to re-vector the costs or the services or anything like that?
Montgomery County
I'm
came.
sorry?
I haven't been to no meetings. I'm the board member.
No, I'm not talking about.
Montgomery
I'm talking
County
about any
did.
other co-
Montgomery County did, and that was what I was trying to.
How was it received?
It was received okay. Montgomery County has the highest crime rate and is the largest county, so they pay the most.
Okay.
And so that didn't go over well with the board, just being honest with you. And, you know, you have two board members sitting behind me. I'm sure they'd be able to answer that just as well as I could. But since Nick Rule in January of 2018, we had one commissioner show up January 26th of 21.
Well,
We've gone a long time without having Bourbon County represented. And I call, and I call.
we signed this agreement in 1992, Mrs. Walker. That's a 33-year lapse. I mean, at the very least, I think the board should not, your board of directors should at least be taking a look at those agreements and seeing, because the times have changed. The economy has changed,
Sure.
you know, tax base have changed. So
Yeah.
I think that invite, that olive branch should actually come from the board of directors.
Okay.
Make sense?
Sure.
I mean, I think the people here in Bourbon County are willing to work with anybody, but I think somebody's gotta, the person, the stakeholder, the board of directors, I believe should come to us or put out an invite for us to come and take a look at the whole system again.
So are you requesting that your
I'm not-
commission itself,
No,
or?
I'm advising.
Okay.
I'm just a friendly advice. That's it, sir. I'm not,
Sure, no, I work for you, sir, so,
I
you know,
understand.
I'll go back and report anything and everything. Our next meeting is the 23rd of July.
right.
It's the 23rd of July.
You have something?
Do what?
Did you have something?
Well,
I want to give
think
Bill an
who's gonna
opportunity.
recognize Bill. Yeah.
Wow, a lot of information, a lot of, to me, wow. That's all I can say for now. But one thing that actually drew my attention is that if you walk away, you're walking away from $400,000. Is that correct?
That would be rough estimate, Sheriff. But that is with our cash accounts and our property that we have on hand.
Can you break down by line item while we're walking away that $400,000? Why is that $400,000 that we're walking away from?
Sure, sure. I mean, it would take me just a little bit of time, but I could do that. I could do that for you. You know, property evaluation was $3.5 million. That's a majority of it.
So Bourbon County's paying for your property evaluation.
Oh, yeah, I mean, it's everything that's equipped in there, from our kitchen, for our staff car, from our blankets.
Like I said, if you have
yes.
time to break it down,
Yeah, yeah.
please
Yeah.
provide that.
No.
The other thing that kind of came to mind is that I've been in that detention center numerous times in the past.
Sure.
I think that nothing has changed since then. Is there a need for me to come down there, since you said that the sheriff's never been down there? Is there something?
Well,
I
no,
know there's outside reports, you go to the right, nothing has changed.
Sure. I think that we are doing a lot of community-based services within there. It'd be great to have you come down and see what we're doing with Bourbon County kids, how we're trying to help them. We also, as Angie's reported, that there is mental health evaluations and things that are being done. Any of that stuff would be great for you to see, because that way you can come back to Bourbon County and report it. I would challenge every sheriff of every one of our counties to come.
And so with, you had mentioned something in regards to leading to codes, and former Sheriff Murphy, who's the advisor to me, had made a comment.
When you were talking about requirements with a certain amount of daylight, things of that nature, those codes are the same in a detention center, whether it's adult or child, when it comes to ACA, ACLU requirements. Any facility requires this amount of light, this amount of cubic space, things of that nature per person. So to say that there's requirements about the juvenile that may allude to differences in any other detention center is not accurate. Those facts, anytime you build a facility detaining anybody from the outside or secure and pre-court detainees, those requirements are all covered by American Civil Liberty, ACA,
Sure.
ACLU.
Yeah.
Those are federal guidelines you have to meet, period.
And I believe I said we're not much different in that fact of other detention centers, sir.
Okay.
But I also did say that what makes us different is our partnership with Pitt State and working with mental health providers that are coming into our facility
And those are
and
the
social
ones-
work.
Those are the ones you're saying.
Chairman.
Three.
All right, let's, we're gonna end up in a big debate.
Sure.
No, we just, you know, yeah.
Thank you for.
We're looking at our budget, and we're looking, so, we have your numbers, and,
And I would like to ask you to reach out to Bill and speak to Bill about this. This
sure.
is his more than anything. He deals with this more than anything. Please reach out and build a relationship with our sheriff.
Absolutely. I would absolutely do that. I would absolutely, and I
And
would
talk
ask.
to him about what would work for the sheriff's department in Bourbon County.
I will certainly talk to the sheriff and find out. I would also just like to be able to be included in conversations, you know, because I can give you more information than what they can by being there. That's my job. That's what
Keep that
you guys
relationship
hire.
with the sheriff, and he'll make sure that you come.
All right.
All
Sounds
right.
great. Sounds great. I didn't know if anybody else did. I don't know if I missed anything or anything else. Commissioners, did I miss anything? Did I leave anything out?
I'd just like to say that I think I've been on this committee for like 10 years, and I didn't know what it was about. The person I ran against, I won, and he was on that committee. I got on the committee, and Mike said, hey, I want to give you a tour of the facility, so he did. And I just got to say that John, who was the director prior to Mike, and Mike was under him, things have just gotten better, and Mike is really, he'll work with anybody, and he cares about his job, he cares about the county, and my other two commissioners in Neosho County have no problem with what we spend, you know, and they just signed that agreement, trying to get that that care unit in, and they're all good about that. And I know we're in the middle of budget too. I think, Mike, you were there last Tuesday?
Yes, sir.
So anyway, I see a lot here going through. It's not a good time, commissioners, I'm telling you, because everything, you know, from medical, you know, to
Right.
equipment, you know.
All right.
got
Well,
a lot
thank
of
you, Commissioner.
Stuff on your plate. you
Yeah,
know.
thank you.
Thank you
Thank
for
you, sir.
coming.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for
All right.
coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up,
Good luck.
have a
Thank
good
you.
night.
Thank you
care.
for coming.
Next up will be Southeast Kansas Mental Health, Mr. Nathan Folsom.
And if you guys don't mind, I'll start this discussion. I met with Nathan.
You can,
Okay.
you can have the floor.
Thank you. All right, so, welcome Nathan, go ahead and have a seat. And you brought a board member, and I see you have a lot of other people here. Yes. On your behalf. Okay, so I want to start the discussion on this topic, and I'd like to express my opinion in the way of the fact that our county government comes into play here. I believe our county government's role for organizations like SEK Mental Health comes into the biggest way when state and federal and other entities do not yet recognize this necessity at the county level. When we were needed monetarily for this organization, we showed up. We helped stand financially before, we helped the organization stand financially before they could stand on their own, and they helped fill a need in our area. And times have changed, just like we spoke to the last entity here. And outside financial support in this area is greater than it was in 1961 for your organization. And when our county made the commitment and the resolution for financial support, to me, there's more than one way to support and show we value this mission in our community. And I'd like to show Bourbon County support in another way. And would like to, after your presentation, give a proposal.
Thank you. Nathan Fossen, CEO of Southeast Kansas Mental Health Center. I've worked with the center for nearly 30 years, first as a therapist in the mid-90s, thereafter within a variety of leadership, administrative roles, and then most recently within this role, carrying forward our services. I'm so grateful, and it's an honor on behalf of the organization and me personally to have served Bourbon County and our adjacent 5 counties that we've also served. And I'm so grateful for the wonderful man at my side, Marty DeWitt, as a longstanding, over 10 years, serving and as a board member for us, and also Brian Cook, over 20 years as our crisis services now director. And local to Bourbon County, we were designated as referenced as the county's mental health center in the early 60s. I remember in my early years at the organization, I was one of about 30 or so employees in full that served our 6 counties. As we would gather as a treatment team, attending to the needs of the community, there was a great sense of purpose. And that purpose we have continued to develop over these many years. We now employ across our 6 county area over 500 individuals that are true to that purpose, that are true to the mental health needs of our communities, and in so doing have also significantly increased our level of professional therapeutic support. In my early years, we had 10 or 12 therapists. We now employ 60 across our 6 counties. We, within Bourbon County specifically, employ about 80 individuals that are actively reaching out, attending to the needs of those within the county. And all of which is made possible by way of our partnerships, our collaborations with other human service organizations, whether it's law enforcement, the schools, foster care, and beyond. I would like to pass out some information specific to our organization. That center area there you see on our mission under our mission statement, under the Southeast Kansas Mental Health Center category, briefly summarizes the various services we as a community mental health center and most recently a certified community behavioral health clinic provide, to include therapy, psychiatry, and a vast array of community-based services and substance abuse counseling and the like. I referenced the term certified community behavioral health clinic. Approximately 5 or 6 years ago, we as an organization strategically applied for funding, federal funding, to help transform, enhance the treatment model and best practice services we've provided. And we achieved then, we were awarded a grant that helped us develop in that direction. In 2022, we then became certified under this federally sponsored program as a certified community behavioral health clinic. And also, the state of Kansas legislatively endorsed this newly enhanced treatment model to help strengthen and even modernize mental health services within our area and across the state. We were greatly blessed to have benefited from that grant funding and to have then strengthened our services accordingly, and in so doing adopted a more whole person approach to our care, whereby we were always, yes, attending to the mental health needs of those we serve, but doing so in a way that we're assessing their holistic needs, whether it's their socioeconomic, their housing, their employment, their physical, their medical needs, whatever it might be, assessing those needs, and in so doing, even better care coordinating those needs. As such, we more fully embraced primary care as a supportive service and other specialty medical services, as well as dental, as a way to better support those we serve. And but most importantly, we've built upon our pre-existing and continued partnerships with our local other human service organizations. I referenced law enforcement, the schools. I've actually also invited Mr. Brown, superintendent, to speak to how we historically have collaborated with one another in meeting the needs of the kids within our community and families of our community. And in like fashion, would like to invite Sheriff Martin to also speak to the many ways in which we as a community mental health center have collaborated on services to better meet the community's needs. I'll offer up my chair.
No, I'll offer mine.
Sheriff back there. Sheriff there.
Well, I will too.
Let me first add that it's probably been about 5 or so years ago that Superintendent Brown reached out to us inquiring how we could be of better support within the school system, and asking specifically whether we could provide the schools with a therapist that would be housed. That has been an initiative of ours, a strategic intent, a commitment of ours, to bring our services closer to where the individuals need us, rather than expecting them to come to us. How can we best come to them? You can help tell that story.
All right, well, as he said, I'm the superintendent of schools here in Fort Scott. We serve about 1,700 kids here in Fort Scott. Our mission is to meet the academic, the social, emotional, behavioral, and physical needs of kids. It's not like it used to be when I was in school, where it was about just your academics, and they started the lunch program not long before I started school, so that added another piece. Today, there are many, many facets to how we serve our kids. And I'm just a true believer in every kid. I want every kid to have a fighting chance when they leave our school system. And so that means we have to provide whatever needs and whatever we can to help them be successful. So we partner with lots of different agencies, but one of our biggest partnerships is with SEK Mental Health. When I started in the district 4 years ago, we saw that we had, I think at that time, we only had one therapist that was working in all of our 4 schools, the 5 schools, counting the preschool, because we serve those kids with mental health services as well. And so I was talking to Nathan, we need to get more help. So we've gone from having one to now we have a therapist that's in every school. And they're serving over 200 kids in our schools, in a school setting. That makes it so kids don't have to leave school, parents don't have to take off work. All of it, though, has to be approved by parents, so we're not doing anything crazy. Parents approve. The other thing is that it's so equitable because they provide the sliding scale for kids. And so if a kid is on Medicaid, they can still receive services just like somebody who's able to pay for those services. So that's a huge piece of the equity and trying to give every kid what they need. We also have case managers in every building. And the case managers, they basically oversee and make sure all the kids are getting to their appointments with the therapist. They also are talking to teachers, working with the teachers on plans that we're putting in place to try to help the kids. And then we also have attendant care workers that work through SEK Mental Health that come in and they work actually in the classroom with kids. Behavioral health has gotten to be a huge issue in every school. Every school, I think, is always a big topic every time I go to the superintendent's meeting. I will say that I believe Fort Scott is very unique in the partnership that we have with SEK Mental Health, because I can call them anytime and they're going to show up, they're going to be there, they're going to be there to help us. They also provide crisis services. So if we have kids that are talking, they want to kill themselves or they're threatening to kill their family or whatever, SEK Mental Health is right there with their crisis services. They will come on site, or we can take the kids to them and they'll do assessments and things like that. Last week we had a situation up at Des Moines, Iowa, with the kids that were at the National Speech and Debate conference, and there was a threat that they thought there was an active shooter on site. The kids, all 3,000 kids, exited that building as fast as they could. There were kids that got stepped on, trampled, things like that. For an hour, the kids thought that there was an active shooter there. You have a stepdaughter that was involved in that. These kids were traumatized, honestly, over that event. Brian Cook called me that evening and said, I hear there's been an incident. Do you want us to come and meet the kids? Because I had our counselors coming, we met them, and they got home about 11 o'clock that night, and he had offered. They called the next day, again, just checking in. Is there anything we can do? That's the kind of relationship we have. That's the kind of relationship we need for our kids to be successful. And I just appreciate everything that Nathan has done, the things we put in place here in Bourbon County. I have school districts all the time calling me and saying, how do you do that? What do you do? How are you making that work? It's because of this guy here and his vision that matches with mine, I'll say. But we want to make sure every kid is taken care of, whatever their needs. And so the mental health needs are pretty large right now. It used to be taboo, you didn't. It's not that way anymore. And kids come and seek out the services. And they come to counselors at the schools and say, I'd like to be able to talk to a therapist or something like that. It's pretty common anymore. So all the way from age 3 all the way to 18, we're serving kids in mental health and behavioral health. So you guys have any questions for me? I have a t-ball game I have to get to for my grandson.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you,
Thank you
Mr.
so
Brett.
much.
Thank you. Appreciate it. And I very much credit Superintendent Brown for making the request of us to be of better support and paving the path for us to achieve that. As I referenced, we work so closely with law enforcement as well. In my early years, I began as a crisis intervention therapist and was frequently being called out by the local police department or sheriff's department to attend to the crisis needs of those we serve. And asked if Sheriff Martin could speak to how we if Sheriff Martin could speak
Well,
to,
I heard the M word, go ahead.
if he could speak to our collaborative relationship and how we support one another in helping the community members.
You know, we had a conversation Friday of last week. Nathan and Brian came and talked to the staff of the Sheriff's Office. Yes, we do have a great working relationship with Southeast Kansas Mental Health. There are times when we need them, we call. They're more than willing to step up and do what needs to be addressed. Same thing, reverse. When they have an issue, they call us. Like I told Brian, I'm going to say this again, this is budget time. And I told Brian, I'll say this, correct? We're all fighting for that dollar, okay? But they do provide a service. I also provide a service. So we do work together, and we have a good working relationship. And that's pretty much what we discussed Friday.
Sure.
Yeah.
I recall about 10 years ago
Thank you, Bill.
when the moratorium was put into effect at Osawatomie State Hospital, and it was now budget time. And Sheriff Martin called me in advance of this meeting to say, hey, I recognize that we're requesting financial support and perhaps the same dollar to support. We then, in that meeting, talked about how in moments of crisis, we're both attending to the need. Law enforcement may be the first responder who attends to that need and takes that individual under protective custody, and in so doing then asks of us to assess and coordinate the treatment needs thereafter. And as they perform their role, and as we perform our role, and as our local healthcare provider even offered up the support of a facility and a bed in which an individual could reside while those needs were being attended to, it was evident that we were all offering up our resources, so often without funding to support them, thus speaking to his need for that funding, because we truly are working together. And where we can give and take, we need to be prepared to offer that. We're so grateful for the many ways in which we've developed our services over time and have even strengthened our ability to serve that need with lesser support from our local counties than we once may have relied upon. And I conclude there to say we're so grateful, to reiterate how grateful we are for our partnerships with our local organizations that are attending to the needs of our community. We're so thankful for all they contribute and the opportunity we have to contribute, and for the contributions that the county has made over the years in support of not necessarily our services per se, but for the betterment and the health of those we all serve. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Before you go, sir, do you have a rough number of how many patients, I guess, that you guys, or how many people you guys help in a year?
Yes, if you were to refer to the backside of this form
Oh, I
here,
didn't see that, thank you.
you'll see a breakdown of our services. We've offered some highlights ranging from 2022 through 2024, identifying that in 2024 we provided 35,482 services. Now that's all inclusive of case management, therapy, psychiatry, and other crisis services. Whereas in 2022, and this illustrates the level of growth and support we've offered, in 2022, our overall services equaled 21,000.
Okay. And this is for how many counties again?
This is specific to Bourbon County.
Oh, okay, great. All right.
And the backside of that sheet is specific to Bourbon County.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Ready for me?
Commissioner Gilbert.
Okay, so I met with Nathan and his team Thursday last week?
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah. And after I met with Nathan's team Thursday, I spoke with our clerk. She pulled a lot of minutes. She pulled the old resolution, and I proposed we do a new resolution, and the clerk provided this almost immediately. So thank you, Susan, for being so prompt. And this is just a proposition, if you guys so choose to support it. And then I have a letter I'll read after, if you choose to support that as well. So this will be a new resolution, repealing resolution dated April 25, 1961 for SEK Mental Health. Whereas in 1961, the Bourbon County Commission formed a mental health center in partnership with Allen, Neosho, and Woodson County per KSA 19-4001 to 4009. And whereas the Bourbon County Commission adopted the levy of 1/2 mills to be placed upon the tangible properties of Bourbon County for support of this mental health center. Whereas the Bourbon County Commission has board representation and has supported this organization monetarily for many years and have assisted the organization financially, promoting the mission to provide and advocate for the highest quality, whole person care to improve health and quality in life of our communities. Furthermore, Bourbon County, with their financial contributions over these years, has helped the organization grow to be self-sustaining. Whereas SEK Mental Health also serves the counties of Anderson, Lynn, Woodson, Allen, and Neosho counties, Bourbon County will continue to have representation on the SEK Mental Health Board and will appoint individuals who are not in direct conflict with the organization that is directly competing with this organization. In addition, board members will be required to have knowledge in the field of mental health services. Whereas SEK Mental Health has 35,482 cases in 2024 showing a need for mental health services in Bourbon County, whereas many Bourbon County residents are employed by SEK Mental Health, and the Bourbon County Commission recognizes the economic impact that has in our community. Now therefore be it resolved by the Bourbon County, Kansas Board of Commissioners to repeal the resolution adopted April 25, 1961, adopting the levy of 1/2 mil annually. The Bourbon County Commission remains committed to supporting the mission and goals of mental health in our community and the importance of having this organization here in Bourbon County. The Bourbon County Commission will continue to have a presence on the SEK Mental Health Board. The letter, to whom it may concern, this letter is intended to show support for our local SEK Mental Health Center. The Bourbon County Commission is proud to be a part of this organization's mission to provide and advocate for the highest quality whole person care to improve the health and quality of our life and our community. The SEK Mental Health Center organization was formed in early 1961, and Bourbon County has been part of this organization from its inception to successfully develop a framework for mental well-being, resilience, and overall quality of life. Raising mental health awareness and reducing the stigma surrounding mental health conditions, promote understanding of mental illness, and encouraging people to seek help and support when needed is important to our community. In addition, it is important to educate the public about mental health, highlights resources, and advocate for policy changes to improve mental health care. The Bourbon County Commission will continue to be a part of SEK Mental Health Center by appointing board members who have knowledge in mental health field and support the organization's mission. The Bourbon County Commission also understands the importance of having board members who do not have a conflict of interest or work in competing agencies. The Bourbon County Commission understands the importance of supporting mental health in our area employment and current residents with SEK Mental Center and the impact the organization has had for many who live in Bourbon County. I'd like to pass this resolution, and I'd like to sign this letter for SEK Mental Health. Now, if you guys need to think on it or want to bring it back, that is fine. Or don't want to bring it back, that is your choice. But I would like to support them in our community. They have a huge presence in our community, in our
Right.
schools. You heard from the sheriff, you heard from Mr. Brown. And we did help them kick off to where they can sustain today. And I want to offer them our support, not monetarily anymore, because they're there. But we want them here in our community.
Say that last part again, I'm sorry. Something about monetarily, I missed that.
Not support them with our 1/2 mil any longer.
Okay.
But support them with the fact that we agree that we want them in our community.
Okay.
Can we table it until next week?
Yep.
If you're fine with that. I would like to review it some more.
I would like to review, but I still have some questions for Commissioner Milburn, if I may.
Right ahead.
So what I'm hearing you tell me is we're gonna take away the 1/2 mil, but we're gonna support them.
Yes, from my understanding, when we signed that resolution, I was not born yet, in 1961,
I wasn't ready.
Neither was
there
I.
the county recognized a need for mental health, yet they did not have outside funding yet. And so they needed us.
Right.
They needed us to support that mission to get it started.
Right.
We did that. And now there's a recognition from outside the county level. And so there's other funds available, and they've figured out how to do that and grow and still be a part of our community. And so that is why.
So maybe I missed something. And I will commend you, Mr. Foss, for everything that you and your team have done. I have no issues with that. On this letter here, it sounds to me like you may be asking for additional funding for 2026. Is that correct?
Look at the date on the letter, though, Commissioner. You'll see.
2025.
The letter isn't specific to a request.
Okay.
What it states there is our appreciation for the contribution made
Gotcha.
last year or for this service year. This would be the time when we would be requesting additional funding
Sure.
for 2026.
Yes, sir.
And yet the acknowledgement being that given our development and our devotion to grant initiatives, we have become more self-sustaining than we have been previously. The day may come in future years where our funding support may subside. And as such, we may be coming to the county to say, please help. We're grateful that we're not pressed in that regard in the
Gotcha.
moment.
Gotcha.
And as such, we're less dependent upon the financial support of the county than we once were. I'll also offer clarification that the financial support provided to the mental health center over decades, since our beginning, or at least since in my time, that those dollars have been directed specifically to those individuals that have inability to pay, which was by intent the purpose for community mental health as well, is to ensure that those who have inability to pay have the equal opportunity for the quality of services we provide.
Yes, sir. And I don't want you to walk away from this thinking that I have anything against what you're doing or any negativity towards that. I don't. It's actually the opposite. But the reason I'm questioning is this, this is my first night. I was appointed. Everybody understands that I have a fiduciary responsibility to taxpayers' dollars. So that's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at the money. I thank you for answering my question. I would agree. I would like to have another week to think about this. I don't have any issues with what you're trying to do. I mean, I'm willing to, at this point, I'm willing to yeah, just give me another week, please, please. If that's all right.
That's fine.
Okay.
Okay, can we make sure we got copies of them before we
Yes.
leave tonight?
Yes. Thank you, Susan.
And thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any further questions for me?
No, sir, great presentation, awesome. I mean, awesome work.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ford.
Appreciate it.
Okay, I'm gonna call for a 5-minute recess.
It's only been 2 hours.
Two? Really? Has it been two?
It's a long meeting.
Oh, wait, do we need a vote?
No, there's no motion. Go ahead.
Thanks.
Thank you, Susan.
Did we take a break? Is that what we did?
Yeah, 5 minutes.
Yes, it was the banter.
Nobody asked the
Thank you.
question that's been in the papers.
She did. Stayed away from that, yeah. Stayed away from that on purpose.
I think they're coming to Allen tomorrow. They're gonna get,
Yeah. Yeah, that one tabled till next week. It'd be in everybody's best interest for that to pass.
I think they expect it.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they get enough. There's something next.
I don't know. I don't know if there's any other or not. Here.
Always cup sweating, okay.
Talk to the group that if there's any, we'll have some reporting. If they have like a specific program that they're targeting.
Yes.
You could use that.
And that's kind of what I thought, at first, and then I thought, well, they don't necessarily need it, is what I kind of, at this moment, and that's
Usually
what.
in bed at 8.
Sorry, Bob. Okay. Would you, Susan, be able to give Sam a copy of the 1961 resolution for mental health? That way he kind of understands what we're replacing. Or what I propose we replace.
Thank you for the copy.
You're welcome. Yeah, Susan did that. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. Did she want to talk about it? Aw, she didn't have it. Oh.
She knows now.
Okay.
You want to back up on that?
Sure,
Yeah.
you can.
All right.
That'd be fine.
What was it?
It was about SEK mental health.
Oh,
We missed a card.
Yeah, we'll come back here in
Yeah.
a second.
I didn't even know there was a backside of this. I feel like a
Yeah.
heel. Oh, okay.
I don't know what time I started it.
32,
The break, yeah.
so you're,
Okay. I said 5 minutes. I didn't know I was going to be that quick.
you didn't go,
Oh, I'm sorry.
you didn't go in executive session, you can start whenever. You can start whenever.
Yeah.
Is that just the chairman?
Just for him to sign.
I'll wait on that. Go ahead and go back into session. We're going to back up here just a second or two, and we got a citizen comment regarding SEK mental health. Mrs. Smith, you want to come up here, please?
I was just wanting to do the public part. No, I was so very impressed with what I heard this evening. And I'm Bonnie Smith. I live, I think, in the new District 5. I was a teacher for many years in Olathe. And something I learned that became very important to me was to not forget in the help that's offered to the children, so important, the parents. We all know how very important that is. But there is also a need for the professional staff, for the teachers, for all of the people who help them and are concerned with them, superintendents, everyone, so that I just want to say and share how important it is to share the mental health help that's available to that professional staff also. And then also to extend it out into the community. First responders also need help. And it used to be not encouraged at all to go seek help. That if you were in law enforcement or first responder or whatever, if you went to seek help, then maybe your value was questioned. So anyway, I wanted to be very positive and just say thank you for what's provided, and don't forget the grown-ups.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so next on the item is Budget Committee resignation of Mrs. Heckman. and assign replacement.
So these were your other two. I don't know if you brought yours.
Yeah, I looked
brought
over
yours?
them again today.
Okay.
These are the two that are left. I'll make a motion on each one and we'll go from there.
Or you can nominate one. At your choice.
Okay. Well, I'll make a nomination for Joseph P. Smith.
Okay. Then I move we appoint Joseph Smith as Marla's replacement.
I'll second.
Beerbauer,
Yes.
Tran,
Yes.
Milburn.
Yes.
And I think Mr. Smith is here tonight, right?
Yes. And so is the Budget Committee Chairman. You want to get with him later?
I promise not to run off another one.
All right, moving on. I believe now we're into public comments for items not on the agenda. First up will be Mr. Emerson regarding solar panels.
I'm sure you're just shocked that it's solar panels. I'd just like to say that I asked Commissioner Milburn what was going on with the lawsuit. We were part of that lawsuit, and we were dropped off it, and the county took over the lawsuit. And I guess maybe you can't comment on it, but you said nothing was signed. Well, I surely hope that nothing will be signed until we get zoning. And the other thing is, in Jackson County has a lawsuit with Topeka regarding these, and so much information. I talked to someone today, and there is so much more information on this that we all need to know about the pollution. In Ellsmore and Parsons, there's the old ammunition depot down there, and this person said there's thousands of these solar panels stored down there that were
Where
made.
was that again?
In Ellsmore and Parsons, the old ammunition, what did they call that? Anyway,
Ammo dump?
yeah.
Was it
Lots of
ammunition
buildings down there, and they're
plant
stored
there?
down there, and it was clearly all of these were made in China, these solar panels that they have. These contracts have been done without environmental protection surveys. In recent years, we've tried to do watershed dams, and we have to get environmental studies from several different agencies. One difficult one was wildlife and parks, and you've heard nothing from wildlife and parks about these, and here we're going to enclose with chain link fences 20,000 acres. Just ridiculous to me. So I highly hope that we don't sign anything until after the zoning is done and after we find out some of this information from this lawsuit in Jackson County. I mean, tremendous amount of information coming out about the illegality of these things. Thank you.
All right, thank you, sir.
Thanks, sir.
Next up is Mr. Hoyt regarding tax abatement.
I think everyone that sat here today said since it's budget time. In mid-February, before Micah and after Bob came on board with us, I brought to your attention that the property at 401 Woodland had been tax abated at a value of $3.9 million. $400,000, which would now be $600,000 worth of taxes have not been collected. They've been abated. I think it's only fair, and this is my intention for this evening, it's only fair that we bring to the attention of the other taxing entities that their budgets in 23, 24, and 25 were based on that valuation in the budget. And they don't know they don't have that money coming. I would assume the valuation that we received this week would be less the $4 million, approximately, it's 3.9 something, that would be reduced or moved over to the abated column, which I provided you a handout after I'd been to, I believe it was Manhattan, where there's $43 billion in this state that's been abated. The interesting thing is the property that's out there now is now classified as a hospital, as a charitable philanthropic hospital. That's what it's on the tax rolls now for, right here. I didn't make any copies, you can pass it around. It hasn't been a hospital, much less philanthropic hospital, since Mercy left. This is just unconscionable to me how we could continue with Legacy and its co-owners of that property being reclassified as the Kansas Real Estate Investment Group, being tax abated and provided and being designated a philanthropic charitable hospital. I've brought this to the attention of the commission, like I said, in February. I've also brought this to the attention of Karen Tyson, our senator, who is on the tax, I can't give you the exact title of the board that she oversees in the Senate, but she's very interested in pursuing this, and I'll be providing her with additional information, and we'll see what either we could resolve there, or we'll take it to a lawsuit. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
May
you.
we keep this?
I can make you a copy. I didn't
Please.
make you a
I
copy.
can get you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Would you like one, Mike, too?
Yes.
Okay.
I take a copy.
I gave you one.
And I'll need a copy for, since it was passed out, please. I have to keep it, it's official record.
Good thing I can run the copier.
Come more prepared, Michael.
What's that?
Come more prepared. Isn't that what you tell me? I need
You're
copies.
impaired. I thought you said I was impaired.
All right.
Okay.
Anybody else in public comments that didn't get signed up? Want to add anything? Okay. Moving on to new business.
Did you have anything to say?
What's that?
No. All right, sir.
He's coming up next. Mr. Quick, NRP.
So we had talked a few weeks ago about our NRP program as it sits. 2 years ago, it was moved to 10 years residential for the rebate program on that. Brought it to Commissioner Milburn's attention about maybe taking it back to 5 where it was before. I think it's a great program for people. I think it's a great program at 5 years for both the county and the individual. But I feel when we go to 10 that there's a diminishing return for the county in that NRP rebate program. I know you're brand new and we really had a chance to talk about this, so I don't know if you guys, we're not in any hurry to change, at this point we'd have to run it through the end of the year the way it sits. But, if you want to table it so that Commissioner Trent can, get a little more information on that, then that's perfectly fine with me. I just wanted to, we had tabled it to today, and this being your first night, I don't know if you want to.
How much, by bringing it from 10 to 5, what are you hoping to gain out of it?
From taking it from 10 to 5?
Well, from 10 to 5, yes.
Just to get more, where those dollars come on the tax roll quicker, which
So how much-
benefits everybody in the county as opposed to just the own.
So how much are you projecting monetarily that we're gonna get?
Well, it'll, boy, I couldn't tell you exactly what the,
We have
what,
numbers.
yeah, right, what
We
the,
can bring those. the
Please, I
next-
mean, to me,
Yeah.
it's like, I need this quantified. I mean, I
Right.
hear what you're saying.
right.
I'm willing to
Now,
listen to it.
we did
but I
look
need it
at
quantified.
whether, and, you know, Commissioner Miller wanted to know, did we see a big jump in when we went to the 10? And we didn't. It was pretty much level as
Okay.
far as the amount of applications that we got for it. So I think it's a great program, like I said, for the citizens, and it's a good deal for the county because it encourages people to make those improvements or build those houses or barns or whatever they want to do. I just think that when we go past that 5 years, you know, it's a great thing for that citizen. The rest of the county isn't seeing the benefit.
May I see total number of, I don't need their personal information.
Right, no,
I just
no.
need to know how many buildings, how many,
Mhm.
whatever it is.
Sure.
How many structures that are on the program, and how many of those structures are gonna come off the 10-year onto
Right.
the 5, and then ultimately, by doing this, what are you looking at to gain?
So we won't,
long-term?
anybody that's in now will be locked into their contract through it. So anybody that's on the 10-year now will stay 10-year.
Okay, so you're saying in the future?
In the future, yeah. Yeah, so we
Okay, all
can't
right.
change those contracts on those people that are already.
So you don't,
in.
right now, you won't even know?
Right. Yeah, we won't know what the benefit will be exactly, but I can show you what, you know, right now, what we're looking at, a 10-year, you know, in 5
Okay,
years.
sure.
It's pretty simple because the rebate is based on your first year increase. So if you go from bare piece of ground or $100 and goes to 100,000, that 100,000 stays, that's your increase, and your rebate is figured on that through the 10 years. So
Okay.
it won't be hard to get you those numbers.
All right, sir, thanks.
Yep, yep, not a problem.
You might explain to him that the city's on a different plan.
Right, now Fort Scott itself is on a different plan. The rest of the county is all in our plan. So
Okay.
Fort Scott has stayed at 5 years with theirs.
Okay.
So you wanna wait till next week?
I would love to, please.
Yeah.
I'd love to have those numbers.
Yeah, and I'll get you that
If we're gonna make a
information.
decision, I would like to
Right.
make an
agree.
educated
Right.
decision with all the information.
I agree.
All right.
Do you want me to come back for the other, do you want to just
We can
do
move
the-
that up
I
if you
don't think
want.
you need to.
Okay.
Thank you.
I thought about that, or I got here too late to do the agenda to get
Okay.
moved up, but, so we want to go ahead and talk about that? Okay, so county appraisers are appointed for a 4-year term. We all are renew on the same date. It's always July 1st of every 4 years. This July 1st of 2025 will be the renewal. So Susan has a resolution that I just have you guys sign that says that you want to keep me on as county appraiser for the next 4 years. And I just have to have that signed so that I can send that to the state.
Susan, I know that the dates, when we were looking at the previous resolution, they were still in effect, and so it didn't look like we actually needed to do the new resolution yet.
No, we do. We do. I
Okay.
went back and looked at them, and we do need to do today. Do need to do it right now.
So I would move that we table this resolution and get I would like the old one in the contract.
Well, the old one did not follow state standards. This follows state standards. So, this is what has to be done now based on his old contract. There was another contract done afterwards giving him a rate increase every year, which I might add, he's not had a rate increase since he took over as appraiser, just so that you are aware of that, because he's humble enough that he won't advocate for himself. So, but this is what is approved, what has to be approved
When does it have to be approved?
by the 30th.
But I have to have it in sometime near July 1st.
By July 1st? Okay. It's cutting it close.
Yeah.
But I would agree about wanting to look at it some more. I mean,
30th.
should have seen this sooner.
Do you want to table it?
Yeah. Let's table it till next week.
Nick, can I see the copies of both?
I just have this.
So we don't have the other one, but we can get
The other
we can
one-
get the other one.
The other one wasn't a valid contract for the state of Kansas.
How did we get by on it so long?
We didn't use it. It got repealed.
What did we send to the state of Kansas?
So what has
then?
he been operating on?
Yeah, that's why I'm asking.
That.
What have
He's
we
been operating on
on?
that one.
Resolution.
The other one had the wrong dates in it, so it was,
Well, the resolution that we're operating on, if we could get that one, whichever resolution we're operating on.
it's 4 years ago from that one, but I can bring it back.
That'd be great, yeah, the resolution.
Or I can go
Okay.
get it. It won't be hard for me to go get.
Yeah,
Whichever
just
you
to keep
like.
them together.
Okay, we'll revisit it on Monday, I guess. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
One of these?
And so, we did move that one up. Formation of Benefits Committee, Commissioner Milburn.
Give me just a moment to
Okay.
get these things together, please. Okay. So this is a proposal for another committee. So this would be the Bourbon County Committee for Employee Benefits. Its purpose was for the Employee Benefits Committee is to explore, evaluate, and recommend insurance options for the county's employee benefits plan. The committee's goal is to find a solution that provides comprehensive coverage while saving taxpayer dollars. And just to run down so we don't have to read this whole thing, this committee would have one employee on, and I got the idea, this is not all me, by the way. The college did this when they were changing insurances and needing to, you know, do some things with insurance, which we are right now. They're getting ready. They already changed actually, but rates are coming in. So on the committee, you would have one employee enrolled in the employee-only plan, one employee enrolled in the employee children plan, one employee enrolled in the employee spouse plan, one employee enrolled in the employee family plan, and one who does not currently utilize the insurance plan. And so you would also have the clerk or benefits officer and a commissioner on the committee. And so we would take letters just like the other committee of interested people
Okay.
to form this committee.
You wanna,
We can form it or you guys can read it and think about it either way. Susan has typed a resolution for it if you decide that you do want it. So you guys just tell me which way you're leaning, what you wanna do.
I would,
It's just a committee to, it's like an exploratory group to go out there and, you know, so employees can have representation in what the county chooses to do with something that affects them greatly.
I would definitely like to see some input on the insurance side
By
of
the
this.
employees.
Yeah, by the employees. Yeah, so I'm very,
So if you'd like that, you can so move to,
what I don't see is, so you get a majority of 5 voting on this. Let's just say, and I'm just spitballing, okay? Let's just say they want the Taj Mahal of insurance policy,
bylaw says they can't.
okay? I don't see an issue with it. I would love to hear, I agree with Commissioner Beerbauer. I definitely would want the employees to have a say in their health plan. I just want to make sure that our constituents know that money's tight. You know what I'm saying? So,
Still comes down to our approval.
yes, sir, it does. It does. Yeah.
May I speak on this topic? Yes. We do have a broker with the county. And in a normal situation, when you're dealing with insurance, you meet quarterly to know what your claims and experience is. And I would expect that this committee would be helping review those claims. And so this would be these would be confidential meetings because it could identify some employees' health concerns. And so that would be, we won't, you could say in one of these meetings that somebody has this high cancer claim. Well, if there's only one person within the organization that has cancer, then yes. So they would need some HIPAA training, and that is in the resolution, that they would be required to have HIPAA training. But when you're dealing with this kind of stuff, they're reviewing claims and whether or not your insurance rates are going to go up, and do we need to maybe look at formulary on your pharmacy. I mean, there's lots of things that this group will get very deep in. So it's important that a commissioner be a part of this group because of the things that will be discussed.
I would agree with that.
Would you
That's in the
recommend an
bylaws.
NDA?
An NDA?
Yeah, that they can't talk about what they discuss in those meetings?
They won't name names, but they
But they
could.
couldn't be public meetings.
They will not be public
Yeah.
meetings.
I mean, you guys probably need to chew on it. I mean, I think Susan brings up some good points. I mean, I think the idea is very good. I mean, getting input from employees on benefits, but if they're going to have access to the whole group and claims and ratings, you could probably do it without them having that. If you're
Yeah, I
just
don't know
talking
that they
about the
need-
benefit
yeah.
package.
Yeah. Do they need to be in that party? Because what I'm hearing is two different meetings. I'm hearing a meeting to formulate the next set of insurance. And then I'm hearing, hey, we need to take a look at all the
And
claims that are filed on a quarterly basis, right?
Ideally, I would want your benefits officer to bring that to the group and, not overshare. And then the group just represent the group.
So then those things,
The group
those kind of
needs.
things, I would have to do an executive session with you all.
Right.
And I would prefer that the broker be here when that takes place.
Yeah, because that's what I'm thinking, is if it's done quarterly, why wouldn't the commissioners be a part of that? That
They
would be
could, and we've tried it. How many meetings?
Yeah.
So,
How many meetings?
three.
And why didn't it work? Or did it work?
There was too many little things on the agenda, or there was a misunderstanding, it needed to be an executive session, there was lots of different little things. But honestly, at this point, they shouldn't bring us anything until August, because they'll have 6 months of accurate claims, and we now have 3 years to look back. And so we have a pretty good idea where our insurance is gonna be. We're looking at probably national average is anywhere from 7 to 10%, and then we're right in that national average right now.
Okay.
So, but those are things that need to be discussed.
Well, this is what I'm gonna tell you. If you give me ample notice, I will avail myself to the meeting, and I will be there, and I'll give it my full
And it
attention.
could be a special meeting where we take an hour to really,
Sure.
because it's not gonna be done in 20 minutes.
Okay.
I mean, you need to spend some time in the data to
Okay.
understand it, so.
Yeah, so,
They'll give you a lot of data, but all it is data that justifies their increase.
So
It is.
I mean, that's quite frankly what it is.
We're fully insured, so they're gonna.
but we also get to question them too, right?
Yeah,
This is not just a data
You get-
feed where you.
See, that's where you design, that's where you have the ability to design you get to design the plan. And so these people that are telling you what they want, they may be telling you what you want, but you're saying, can't do that anymore because of cost.
Right, and I think that's important for this governing bodies to be able to go in there and take a look at true cost of insurance versus what the wish list is. Make sense? Because like I've said before, there's what I want and there's what,
I can afford.
yeah, or what I need. Make sense?
do you guys want this committee to hear what the people have to say that work for Bourbon County?
I do.
And then I so move that we form and adopt the resolution for the Bourbon County, let's see here,
I don't know that they have it.
Kansas Employee Benefits Committee. I can read it to them.
Okay, I'll go make it, please.
Whereas the Bourbon County Commission makes important decisions regarding employee benefits for Bourbon County. Whereas the Bourbon County Commission would like to form a benefits committee to review employee benefits and make recommendations to the commission in regards to premium renewals and plan structure, and we meet with Bourbon County's insurance broker quarterly. Whereas formation of this committee will be comprised of voting members from the following categories: an employee who does not take part in county insurance, an employee who takes part in single coverage through Bourbon County, an employee who takes part in the employee spouse coverage through Bourbon County, an employee who takes part in the employee children's coverage, and an employee who takes part in family coverage. Whereas the committee will also be comprised of 3 non-voting members appointed: commissioner, the county clerk, and the payroll clerk. Whereas due to the sensitivity of information being provided, this group regarding personal health information committee members will be required to have HIPAA training and meetings will not be open to the public or other employees to protect individual privacy. Whereas interested employees should send letters of interest with any background qualifications regarding benefits to the county clerk for selection by the county commission. This committee will be reviewed on an annual basis by the county commission for its effectiveness and changes to the direction of the committee. Now be it resolved by the Bourbon County, Kansas Board of Commissioners to form a benefits committee to review employee benefits, make recommendations to the commission regarding premium renewals, plan structure. Will meet Bourbon County's insurance broker quarterly. So.
And Commissioner Tran had asked me to kind of elaborate, like when I am kind of stepping into a different role. This is my role as the benefits person. I oversee the benefits out of our office.
So for the people at home and the people in the gallery, because Mrs. Walker wears different hats, there's been some statements made, and I think it's best for all of us for her to clarify her role as she's speaking on the various subjects. In this case, she's speaking as the benefits individual, and then when she speaks as the clerk, she'll speak as the clerk. Does that make sense?
Makes sense.
All right. That way, we're
I
trying
appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, that way there's no misunderstanding what role she's playing, and it's just not her. It's going to be everybody. So.
Okay, so you have a motion or a move.
Thank you, Katie.
I'll second.
Milburn?
Yes.
Beerbauer?
Yes.
Tran?
Yes.
Will you publish that letters to the
Yes.
emails? I guess you can just send it to all the emails.
Yep.
Yeah. It's not like we're taking public, so.
What? It will. 1925. That's the first resolution we've done tonight, isn't it?
Yes.
Do you have public comment you want to make? Oh, 1925. I couldn't hear you.
Thanks, sir.
Next on the item or agenda is elevator repairs. I don't have names with it. I'm assuming it's,
Yeah. Before you, I laid a packet of information. Our elevator is down. Oh, Shane and David are here.
So we got a letter from the judge.
That's what I was looking for. And there it is.
Encouraging us to do something.
Yeah, we've got some jury trials coming up in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah.
What was the recommendation and then minimum recommendation to get us by?
Well, last August, we put that recommendation out that's there. That was what the elevator company did. We ended up doing the first little part of it which was what just went out.
What went out?
The controller boards.
Okay.
There was a
So
power
the motherboard
surge.
died.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a total of like 6 boards.
So the upgrade path that's in the document that you guys have, even if we were to start it immediately, it would take a couple months
Mhm.
to get the parts, get everything. So we're gonna have to turn that board into insurance since it was a power surge and probably redo that thing. Tomorrow we'll have the price. It's probably gonna be in the mid-20s to get those boards.
Okay.
If we can sign for them in the morning for him to order them and get a check overnighted tomorrow to them, they can have the parts in by Wednesday. We have a jury trial Tuesday, so that could present a problem. We have a docket tomorrow that's gonna be pretty heavy, so I'm gonna set up a Zoom terminal down here and help people that, if they can't go upstairs, help them get online and get their Zoom court. I don't know that we can do that with the jury trial because what I was told today by the clerk was if they call in 50 jurors or 40 jurors or something, and there's a bunch that are handicapped that can't get upstairs, it could cause a problem. So I don't know what we can do about that.
Is the court, is there another, can the court change venue?
That'd be up to the judge, but I don't see that
Judge
happening.
Ward's not gonna,
You know, okay.
I mean, he's gonna hold his court probably in the 3rd floor big courtroom, that's his courtroom.
Gotcha. I mean, I'm just
I mean,
spitting.
theoretically, I'm not a judge, but.
The other two courtrooms, the one on 2nd floor is too small to have a jury trial. So is the other one on 3rd.
So what's the fastest they can expedite a motherboard replacement?
By Wednesday.
By Wednesday?
Yeah, the day after the jury trial. Then there's another jury trial coming up, so.
So,
It kind of puts us between a rock and a hard place.
Correct.
I don't know. I know Judge Ward wants it fixed as soon as possible.
Also, you need $20,000 to fix the elevator. is what-
Well, it's gonna be 20-some thousand, we
Yeah,
don't know
closer
yet.
to 30.
Probably closer to 30, but the insurance is gonna cover it because it was a power surge.
But we need to approve that money for now.
Yeah, so we have to
we
sign
can
for it
cover it.
tomorrow,
Okay.
get a check in the mail overnight, and then he can order it. He's gonna go ahead and order as soon as we sign for it. It's kinda against our protocol, but he knows we're pinched.
so the rough order of magnitude on the cost is gonna be 30K,
Yeah,
not to exceed 30K.
that was
Well,
close to what it was.
Yeah.
We'll know first thing in the morning.
Don't
You gotta have
sound,
to do it,
yeah.
it's an ADA.
Yeah,
Right,
it's-
yeah.
Sounds like we need to get the elevator running and the very least amount of money we
Right.
can spend is $30,000 or
Right.
20 to 30 and we need to do that.
I'm not saying we shouldn't do it, that's not what I'm
Oh,
saying.
okay.
So I'm seeing here, 135,000.
Yeah,
That's for the remodel.
completely to
Yeah, I
remodel
think
it.
so.
that's the update, yeah.
That's what the state, when they came in and inspected,
And how long was this planned?
how long was the plan? When we
How long
brought it-
ago did it,
August last year.
August
bid's
of
no
last
good.
year? I
No,
thought
we have a
seen
new
No,
one
that's
that was
That's
older.
the new bid.
Yeah,
Just
that's
the new
correct,
bid.
and that's for 30 days, right down there.
Yeah, so we did the one part,
So we can be looking at that for 2026 budget.
Well,
well, the
that's a
problem is
30 day,
if this elevator gets hit again,
right. You're back in the
you're
same
back in the
boat.
same boat.
Yeah.
It should be protected from that with the new system that's in.
Did they say that we had to have it up to that standard by the end of the year, or are we already there?
When the state came and inspected.
state
We should already be there.
Yeah, we should be
Yeah,
there.
yeah, actually, we're,
You only have like one failed item back on the list, right? One or two failed items. I'm trying to get to that page, so, was the door restriction bracket flag missing? It was missing, they replaced that,
right, no, it has not been replaced. That would be included in the update,
but it is not something we can just have them replace.
not to my knowledge, no.
How about the machine door, the machine room door, self-locking, required to be self-closing, did we put a
That's,
close on that?
that's done, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So the pipe wiring and duct, that was a failure, protect the elevator equipment from possible pipe or duct rupture.
Right, yeah,
Was that done?
yes.
Okay. So disconnecting means and controls, Is that done?
Yes, that part, yes. But there
There it is.
there's other parts, if you'll read on there, that also affect the fire alarm and
Yeah.
such as that, that'll be included in that next phase, you might say,
Gotcha.
but not in this temporary fix, but.
The reason I'm asking, I'm not dinging you guys, the reason I'm asking is if these are small items that we could do, and we had this conversation today. And I'm not saying that I want to kick the can down the road. I'm
Right.
saying that we need to do whatever we can to patch this until we get to a point where we can fund this.
Right, right.
Okay?
Yeah.
That's,
Have funding.
we have
Yeah.
funding.
Yeah,
May I?
yes, yep.
Wait,
This-
okay, go ahead.
Good. There's a sales tax that is for the repayment of bonds for the jail, but the tax also allows for courthouse repairs. And so for things like this, because they knew that these things were coming. And so those funds are available to be able to fix these types of things, to fix the courthouse outside, to do the tuck pointing and all that. And there's plenty of money in there to do that. So,
Okay.
But you don't have enough time to completely replace it in time for what Judge?
Not that
No,
not that
not that,
upgrade.
right, right.
I'd say
We're
we-
gonna have
So
to
you're
do
gonna
the
have to
boards.
do the
We fix what
temporary
we
deal.
gotta fix right now and
Yes.
then,
Immediate repairs.
Right.
and then review the other quickly.
Now, I
Yeah.
said if we decide to go ahead with the full upgrade, we're long enough customer with them, they're gonna push us to the front of
Right,
the line
right.
for jobs. So we could get it done the next 2 or 3 months instead of waiting, till the end of the year or whatever.
Right, and that price
So-
that they shot us on that upgrade is actually a discounted price over what it was.
Yeah.
I think it started out $150-some thousand, and now it's 138 or something like that.
let's do
And
point of
then-
order for immediate repair, if that's what's on the.
Let's do the immediate repair,
Okay.
please. Thank you, Katie.
Thank you. So I move that we approve, we don't know how much yet, 20,000 plus?
It's gonna be around 30.
Around 30, and
30.
they're gonna send the price tomorrow, I believe.
Up to 30,000 for the immediate repair of the elevator so they can use it for court.
Second.
Beerbauer,
Yes.
Tran,
Yes.
Milburn.
Yes.
So that'll give us permission to sign that work order tomorrow.
Get that elevator
First.
going for Judge.
Yeah.
Okay.
And on the other part, do we want to talk about later? What do we want to do with it?
We'll talk about, we got budget talks coming up, so.
Okay. All right.
I think we're gonna have to have a work session too.
Yeah, about maintenance.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank
guys.
you.
Thank you,
Thanks a
gentlemen.
lot.
What's next?
Fireworks.
Is it
Well,
this
yeah.
road
Item
closure?
F.
Oh, road closure.
Yeah.
We have application for permanent road closure, Bradley Plaster. Is he here?
Is this another road closure? Because I
Yes.
think we signed this. didn't we?
Well, so I laid it at the table, the application. So the only parts that were done, were the 2 alleys. And I highlighted on this piece of paper, this is what he is needing, and he owns both properties, so really, he's the only person.
Uh-huh.
But that part didn't get put on there, and so Laura pointed that out to me. And
Okay.
so, he came back, he was back in the States, and he
Yes.
went ahead and said, hey, can I go ahead and do this part? So, same process, same area, just didn't get the road done.
Okay.
So
So this is another one?
Yes.
A different description, I thought.
Yes.
I know we just did this.
Yeah.
That's
So-
what I
So
thought.
I see.
So you guys have to set the hearing, and then I mail a letter just to him And then at the next meeting, we can adopt after the hearing, you can adopt, whether you can adopt it or not adopt it. And then I'll publish for 2 weeks. So you're at the point where you'd set a hearing.
Okay, let's set the hearing for next week, or do we got further out?
I think they need to publish.
July,
Probably the second or third meeting in July, yeah.
July 7th, isn't it? Or,
Just depends on what Susan gets.
I don't have to publish in the paper. I just have to send the notice to them that there's a hearing coming up. I can do a public notice though too, that I can do
Do it
that.
by the 7th?
Public
That's fine.
notice, yeah.
Yeah, the 7th is
All right.
fine. Yeah.
July 7th.
We want to do a motion.
Yeah.
Okay, I move to publish Mr. Plaster's request for a road closure with the GIS location to Bourbon County official social media. And if we do, are you doing a publication?
I can do a publication.
And a publication, certified mailings were appropriate, and set the hearing for July 7th.
I don't think I have to do like a publication on this for the hearing. I think I can just
Just
put
for the-
notice.
that's fine.
Yeah, save on publication costs, because it's very expensive.
Okay. I second.
Tran,
Yes.
Milburn,
Yes.
Beerbauer.
Yes. Moving along. Fireworks application, Kathy Ramirez, Mapleton, Kansas.
Yes, Mapleton doesn't have their own
Excuse me.
fireworks licensing permit, so she always comes and gets them through us, and so we just need the chairman to sign this. She's already paid her
Anybody have
fees.
an issue with it?
And so I just need a motion for him to approve.
Yes, sir.
I move we allow the chairman to sign the permit.
No.
Second.
Us.
You already did?
Milburn,
Yes.
Beerbauer,
Yes.
Tran.
Yes.
Okay. Pursuant to KSA 75-4319B1 to discuss personnel matters of individual non-elected personnel to protect their privacy for job performance with the 3 commissioners, the county counselor attending, and we will return in 10 minutes at 8:32 to
Second.
this chambers.
Second. Did you make a motion? Second.
Beerbauer,
Yes.
Tran,
Yes.
Milburn.
Yes.
Susan, I said 10 minutes. 8:32.
Soon that person
Did you get a set of changes? Because it was one front and back. I think.
I don't think he's a fashionista.
I guess so.
Okay.
Yeah.
On a short sheet.